We're doing the Andromeda main session Thursday, May 18th.
What time? Oh, hold on. Let me start my clock for the video index. Okay, give me just 1 second.
It's 2:03.
Okay. What time are you starting the broadcast?
2:03.
Right now?
Yeah, I just started it.
Okay, good.
Okay. Got the video indexing going. So setup looks good. I think we're ready for session roles. I'll help you from facilitation. Maybe Jorge will step in later. Notes. Me, maybe Jorge later. I don't know. Timekeeper.
I can do that.
Clara. Video indexing. Video indexing. Nelly?
Yes.
You want to help out with the video indexing? Okay. Session value tracking and master document updating.
I will do that.
You want to do both of them? All right, and Asana Anacleta, right?
Yes.
Cool. All right, so I think we are ready to check in. I guess I could start. Look, we're at 6 minutes. That's pretty good start time. For actually starting check-in. So I am doing okay. Definitely working too much, and looking forward to slowing down. There's definitely plenty falling through the cracks in general. Yeah, I'm probably like a 6 today, or for now. Check. Who wants to check in next?
Okay, I'll go next. Today, I feel very tired. I think I have been working a lot with 2 jobs, a little bit too much, but and I feel like a 5 because of that. I feel drained.
Anacleta, James?
Okay, I'll go next. I'm like doing other stuff while we are doing this, so I'm a little bit distracted, but I'm pretty fine. I don't have much to say or tell. I don't know, I'm feeling like 6 or 7, 6. And check.
Hello, guys.
Hey, Jorge.
I'm sorry I was late. I had to take an Uber because I was working and it got really late. I just got here. Sorry for 7 minutes.
No worries. Do you want to check in and say how you're doing, and if you want to help out with any of the positions?
Yeah, sure. Me or Isaac?
You. I don't think Isaac is here yet.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just check in and let us know how you're doing, and if you want to do any positions.
All right. Checking in. I had work this morning. I was teaching English, and I was running some errands. And yeah, I'm ready to start working now. And today it's nice. A nice day. It's sunny and really nice. I will give it a 7.5 today. 1 out of 9.
Yeah, James.
All right.
James, do you want to check in? Are you here? Maybe James doesn't have audio. Can you hear us, James? I guess James isn't here.
Yeah, it looks like it's not there.
So I guess
maybe he cannot hear us.
Yeah, maybe he's having internet trouble too. That's always a possibility. Cool. All right. So when we get him back, we'll have him check in. So excuse me. How long do we have today?
I have 2 hours and a half.
Yeah, so am I.
2.5 hours?
I have 3 hours.
Not here. James, we're not sure. All right, cool. So I mean, basically our plan would be like, our typical, to maybe like 3:45 p.m. to start wrap up. And Anacleta, you're doing timekeeping, so.
Yes.
And then we want to finish by 4:30 latest. Maybe we'll be able to even finish sooner. So desired outcomes, definitely want to get more organized. We want to have, we want to work, we want to work on our monthly budget early this month. I want to go through various, make sure there's clarity. Have clarity on various personnel policies. Comprehension and master ledger, we're done with that. That's fine. Slow down, continue that. It's all good. I think we also want to make sure we have a basic plan for the Atlantic team support. And I have other topics. Let's see. Budget setup situation, team equity, Atlantic team support, internal projects and responsibilities. And then we have our exit client planning and any other things that you guys want to get desired outcomes or topics?
Just one thing, like a little thing. I finished the self-evaluation form and satisfaction form. So if somebody wants to check it out before we send it to John and complete it, I don't know where to put the link. So that's one thing that maybe we should go over today.
Great.
Oh, I haven't done that.
Minga, I did an evaluation from one link that Jay sent us.
Yeah.
I did it on the Andromeda team.
Okay, well, like I didn't receive anything, so I did it myself, but that's okay.
Great. So let's add that to the topics list. I have that there. And that's part of getting ourselves organized. Okay. I also, team equity, I have that on here. Budgeting, super important. Cool. So I don't know if that's the best order, but I think it's pretty good.
Maybe we should discuss about. Oh, we have EXA. Okay, no, it's okay.
So let's see. I guess we're ready to go on here. I'm thinking about changing some of the structure of the notes, but we don't need to talk about it. I'm just playing around with stuff here. Sorry for getting distracted. So.
Oh, James lost his connection.
Yeah, it's fine. Cool.
But he will follow us on the Hangout, on the doc.
Okay. Did you check in at all? Let's see if you checked in. No. So you could check in here if you can, but so
he lost his audio.
James. Okay. So we would do text only. Another thing, just to mention it on the value tracking, there's another very interesting component that came up, is that there's 3 types of time for meetings. There's full audio connection, and then there's text only, but there's also having a computer and being able to work and interact live with the screen, right? So there's really 3 levels there. Hold on a second. Take it off. Sorry. So anyways, it's actually 3 times. Like, there's 3 important components to attending and being present at meetings. One is the texting and being able to text and write. The next is actually having a computer so you can do tasks and work and interact, because some people would only be on their phone, right? Or their computer doesn't work, or they only have audio, right? So then audio would be the 3rd component. So there's actually 3 simultaneous components, which is actually kind of exciting. Oh, keys? Oh, I got keys. Here. All right. You guys didn't call everything? Okay. All right. So anyways, I just was getting in a tangent here. So where are we? How long do we have? Desired outcomes. I think we're good. Reviewing the topics. Are we good on that? Any other additions to topics? Are we ready to go on to the first topic?
Nope, I think it's fine for me.
So let's do some personnel policies, and we can index this as our first indexing.
Should I do indexing? Yep.
Well, Jorge, you haven't signed up for anything yet, so there's facilitation notes. And
yeah,
Natalie was going to help with indexing, but
video indexing, and I can help with timekeeping.
Yes, you can help me with video indexing. You're very helpful.
All right.
Great.
Did we start the video feed for YouTube?
Yes, it started at 2:03.
2:03?
Yep.
All right.
All right, so I'm going to go over to the Sonic team. Let's see, global team, we got to add the Sonic team here. It's Sonic team. That's a task. So I think that would either be Nelly or Jorge. You want to write down a task is to add the Sonic team to the full team doc. There's a task that needs to be done. So anyways, I'm going to go to the global team. And then, oh no, that's not the global team. That's really unfortunate. So it looks like the global team doc in the full team doc is incorrect. It looks like that's not actually the full team link. So if I go to the global team and it says, oh, those are session note indexes. Okay, so these are session note indexes, which are very important, but you guys want to see the session note index for us right now? It has this is the global team helping us. It has every single session we've ever had as the Andromeda team, and then it says whether it's in the right location, has the right owner, whether it's been tracked as far as like the value tracking, and then if the session credits have been added to the session credit tracking spreadsheet, and then other values within it. So anyways, it's very exciting having that all done. All right, here's the global team doc right here. So and then we want to add, this is where the Sonic team goes. This is obviously go lower down here. We don't need it right at the top. Global team and the Supersonic team. Cool. And just so you guys all know, the Sonic team is now the new Oceania team. Like the first Oceania team, they changed their name to the Sonic team, which is very exciting.
Yes.
And so yesterday we had a meeting, which is actually this morning for them in their time frame, although the Oceania session technically is a day before. Okay, so I'm just gonna use this because it'll make it easier and faster. So this is assigned policy. Perfect. This is great. So there's two things I want to go over really quick with us. One is going over our session work policy, and the other is overtime. Let's start with overtime because that's super simple. And that's basically like, let's say you're working 2, 3, even 4 jobs, right? Like our whole economy is so screwed. Like people back, you could work 1 job right now, but now you have to have 2, 3, 4 jobs or whatever, right? It's just insane. So our overtime policy, one is like 30 hours per week, right? 30 hours per week is normal full time. And then on top of that, and that's based on like scientific decision making in terms of like because it's all about being 100%. Like we want people to be 100% focused and putting in their all, right? So if you're working 80 hours a week, how can you ever spend a single hour of your life at 100% level? It's impossible, right? So in the context of so we want people at 100% focus and energy. So in the context of 30 to 40 hours per week is overtime, and this would be time and a half. So 1.5x. And then it goes up from there. But the point here is that if you have multiple jobs, if you track all your hours, right? And you work 10 out, let's say, so you track all your hours for all jobs. If you work 10 hours for FQN community network. All right, so let's say this is job 1. And then you work 30 hours for job 2. And you work another 20 hours for job 3, right? That would be a total of 30, 40, 60 hours, right? And so under our policy, if you tracked all of your hours for all of your jobs, right, you would get a proportional split of overtime, back pay and back pay. So if 1/6 would be, so we would be responsible for 1/6 of that. So if you 10 divided by 60 would be 16%, right? So then the FQN community network would be responsible for 16% of your overtime. Because basically we need to get rid of this whole idea that people can be working 80-hour weeks at 4 jobs and they're not working an hour of overtime. It's insane, It's literally insane and crazy. So the policy that I have, I think, as a quote, like decision maker and, getting into government, running for office, like the policy is that it doesn't matter how many jobs that you have, if you're working over, into overtime, then it's split proportionally between the jobs. And so regardless of whether your other jobs would be willing to pay your overtime, we would pay in proportional to that. So just throwing that out there because for me, it's an important component of our policies and our political stance on terms of like changing policies in different countries. So are there any questions on the overtime policy?
Well, not a question, but is something like there's no equity on like here in Colombia because for example, if I work for 40 hours a week, right, the payment sometimes it would be like a minimum wage because it's crazy. The pay here is so like they don't pay well. There's like a lot of exploitation here. So there are a lot of professionals here, like they're driving a cab. I don't mean it's bad, but yeah, it's like crazy. So let's say if I say that I work as a teacher around 20 to 30 hours a week, right? I almost can get paid around 3 minimum wages here in Colombia, almost, and that'll be almost enough to cover all my expenditures here.
Yeah.
So it's crazy because I mean, if I take the hours I work here and the payment I receive from FQA network, it would be like, well, why shouldn't I do this like for the whole 40 hours during the week, right? And I wouldn't have to work another 40 or another 50 hours during the week just to cover the rest of that.
Yeah, that's exactly the whole point. Like the goal that we get to is if people are working full time, which we're calculating at 30 hours, you should have enough money to cover all of your expenses. Like that's the goal. So
and the thing is that the minimum wage here is like it's never enough. So I don't know how people leave.
And it's the same in the United States. Like minimum wage in the United States is a complete joke. Like in California, it's $10 an hour, right? So if I wouldn't work for $10 an hour, which I pretty much am already doing because I'm not getting paid enough myself, but anyways, if I went and worked for some other person's company, not actually helping the world, not like doing anything good for society, I wouldn't be able to pay anything. I couldn't even pay my basic expenses, even living at my parents' house. So it's like insane. So anyways, we're all in the same boat across the whole world. Minimum wage is a joke. We track minimum wage, right? So part of our policies is to so we do track minimum wage as part of our just like jurisdictional information, but we really don't care about minimum wage. Minimum wage is not applicable to our equity models and our calculations, and all we care about is the cost of living. Right, so the cost of living is what goes into, and this is the baseline of like the base jurisdictional.
I totally agree because that is the problem. The problem is that minimum wage it's too low, but the cost of living is very high.
Very high.
For example, here in Mexico, the cost of living is so high, and every time with the because here we are engaged to the dollar change. If the dollar fluctuates and it changes, it goes up against to the peso mexicano. The problem is that the cost of living goes up. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. It's totally nuts, and the cost of living will continue to go up and change over time. So we have to always be updating our jurisdictional salaries, on a mainly annual basis. But cool. So, anyways, the most people, like, no one's ever taken up our stance on the overtime policy. But it just Nelly was saying like, oh my goodness, I'm working 2 jobs and it's too much, So it's like, just so you guys know, our policy is that if you went to all the trouble, I mean, it's a lot of work to track all your hours for multiple jobs, and then you actually see how many total hours you're putting in, and you could compare that And then, obviously we're not going to pay all of your overtime, because the idea is that job number 2 and job number 3 should be responsible for paying your other overtime. But we would pay the proportional percentage, which in this case would be 16% of the overtime based on it would be based on average salary over all jobs. I think maybe it'd just be ours. Maybe it is just our pay. I think it might just be our pay. I'll have to look into that. Anyway, so any other questions on the overtime policy? Let's go on to the other policy, which is the session work policy. Are you ready to move on?
Yeah. Yes, I think we can move on.
Yes.
Yeah, and overall, this is a pretty minor thing. So, but it's just fun to consider, and hopefully we can make changes in the world. So the next one is the session positions. So we already went over the idea that we're all trying to do better at tracking the differentiation between. All right, let's open up the spreadsheet of teamwork hours. So we're going to be tracking our overall time of all the time we put in, including like meetings and collaboration work. And then we have our assigned work hours of our task responsibilities we're actually assigned to complete. And then the third one is we're going to get into, this will be a future proposal to do client assigned task work hours, right? So that would be separate, and that would be for future budgets, okay? So we'll look at some of those proposals as well in a little bit. But anyways, let's finish just the policy for the session positions is going to be a little different. So basically the way that you would think about it is that for session positions, we want people to take on the session positions and get more involved in the sessions, right? Which is good, but that we would only count the actual time that you're doing the work in the sessions themselves, right? So as an example, it's usually about 15 minutes or 0.5 hours, like a half an hour, right? And so if you're doing multiple positions within a session, you could have you would choose the main position if you're doing them simultaneously. If you're doing them at different times, you could put both of them. But basically, like facilitation, right now what I'm doing is not facilitating, right? Right now I am I'm doing training, right? I'm still debating whether or not training is, we haven't figured it out yet. So training is a question mark on how that would be involved. But basically, facilitation is agenda creation, organizing the topics, and there's a little introduction, for a minute within the actual meeting here and there. But anyways, I mean, the actual effort of facilitating a meeting could be as little as like 0.25 hours to 0.5 hours per meeting, but it's always less than the meeting. Maybe sometimes it might be a whole hour if there's a lot of facilitation processes. But typically facilitation actually takes place before the meeting to prepare for it, which would be separate hours. Notes, like it's the actual time you're taking notes, right? So right now you're not taking notes, so this wouldn't count for note time. So every time you take a few notes, it'd be basically like 0.25 hours. Maybe if you're taking a lot of notes, maybe it would be a full hour and a half. So notes is one of the ones that would be the most applicable. The next one would be timekeeping. Timekeeping is really small. I mean, if you think about it, all you have to do is look at your watch for like 10 seconds every once in a while. So maybe it's like a 0.25 hours or maybe just a point if you're not really doing a lot of timekeeping. Video indexing, again, it's about 1 to 2 minutes per video index. So if you did 5 of them, it would be like a half an hour, right? Or not a half an hour, 0.25 hours. Right, so session value tracking, same thing at the end. You might do like 15 minutes to half an hour. So do you guys understand the context?
Yeah, like it's the exact amount of time that we take doing exactly what we.
Yeah, it's not exactly, but it's just like average to 15 minutes to half an hour. So the expectation would be that for general session positions, none of them would really be more than like 15 minutes or half an hour of actual work, right? Because it's not that much work. Possibly note taking could get a lot more involved, but most people just aren't taking notes the whole session. And if you're sharing it with multiple people and taking notes at different times, then it's just obviously you're not doing all that time. But with session value tracking at the end of the meeting, we give the value for the session credits is basically the full time that you were active in that position. But that's different than actually the time that you're completing assigned tasks. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if we just look at, I don't know, I think we can use Abdul as an example. Let's see if he did it right. So he did a little document setup during meeting, so that's 0.25 hours. So he did some setup, right? Some documentation setup. And he was working on updating my task for 2 hours during the meeting, right? Doing my hourly updates. So that was a lot of work that he did. So anyway, so even though he's in the meeting, he's noting down his tasks separate from the meeting, okay? So you have the heading column, which is the meeting itself, right? Up here. And then these are sub hours within the 4-hour session, the work session. He did this other additional 2.25 hours. So over here, he did 0.25 hours of video indexing. It says he did a little training. I don't know what this would mean. Could look into that. But, you know, I wonder who he was training. But, you know, he's perfectly capable of training people. He can train Ulysses. He can train other people. So when you are training, but we're still not sure how training is going to work out yet. All right. So any questions on the policy for the session positions?
Nope.
Yeah,
not for me.
Yeah, and so that could actually go in your task and assigned work hours. And again, overall, and this is also for Anacleta, it's not about whether you're getting paid, because everybody has to get paid for all of their hours they're working. It's about tracking the value so that we're able to do two things. One, to assign and issue tokens and issue value. And the other thing is, so for our client, we're able to get value from our client for the work that we're doing. So we need to track better, because if all we have for everybody is basically you just went to all these meetings, you never got any work done, then we have no tracking of what actually got done. You know, so if you look at his house and accommodation meeting, this was EXA, right? Oh, this is EXA house accommodation work. This should be EXA value tracking, so we can track that it was, you know. But anyways, he did an hour, right? So we have an hour of actual work this week for Isaac. And if we look at the totals, so it'll be 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to double check it. But so for Isaac, it would be like 8 hours total, but we only have him down for 1 hour of actual tasks and work, which happens to also be an hour of client work. So anyways, we just need to get better at it. It's actually, oh, and the other important thing to mention, and this is also a task. I think this would be Nelly's task or Lucy's task, but anyone can help out with it. So I did it for Jorge. I noted here on his thing, note, reporting and tracking your hours is an assigned task and work responsibility. So it takes a lot of effort and time and work to actually track your hours and put all the information there, right? But if you think about it, we're basically issuing equity money based on the hours, so it's very, very important to do it well. And it's also the foundation of our whole value systems. So we want people to spend the time to do that, and so you can put in your work report, for example, on Thursday, today, you know, maybe you spent, you know, 0.5 hours doing work reporting and time tracking, right? That would be considered a assigned task and work responsibility. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that it's really clear that work reporting and time tracking is equal to an assigned task and responsibility. So it's a worker responsibility for everybody. Awesome. All right. So you never want to be tracking your hours and your work, right, for free. It's always something you want to get paid for the time. All right. So I think we're pretty clear on that. Are there any other questions with this?
No.
No.
We probably should quickly go over it since we're on the topic right now. If Ana Clara, if you're here and can like interact with us and everything, like maybe we could go over your concern from before, if there was any questions that you had from before, making sure we're on the same page. Because you did technically vote no.
I understand it very clearly.
Okay, so but did you agree with the policy, or do you think there's any issues with it, or you just didn't understand it last time, or?
No, the last time I didn't hear it quite well because I was having internet connection problems. I understand it now. I think that I agree. There are some like things that I'm think about. I'm thinking about yet. Like I'm trying to think about this.
Cool. Well, yeah, just keep thinking about it and get back to us.
Sometimes, but I agree. I just we on a meeting as although we are not doing any task at all. That's time that we cannot put it on something else. So, and that's work time either way, although we are not completing a task, because that's a concept of work associated with doing things and not with thinking things. So I'm trying to figure out what I think about this, but for me it's fine. I agree, and I think it's fair.
Cool. Yeah, and in the end, it's not. It's like that half of our time, as collectively as a team, we should be holding each other to the point of we want to spend half our time actually accomplishing deliverables and work. Right? Mm-hmm. That's the goal. Yeah. And so as a team, for example, our Thursday meetings would be the time that we talk the most, right? This is when we talk, do proposals, do decision making, coordinate our budget, right? So this is the most talking we would do throughout the week. But yeah, generally it's up to all of us to collectively remember that, we need to be spending time, because people can get comfortable just blah, 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 And so it's like, it's not my responsibility to get everybody to do responsibilities and tasks. It's all of our responsibilities to do it. And part of it's the responsibility of you guys making sure that I don't push us to do too much talking, and that we're balancing it. It's important also to note here. So the policy is basically like, all time you're doing work, up to the stipend. The minimum stipend work monthly cost, right? It has to be paid, right? It has to be paid. So basically the worst case scenario would be this. If you look at here, we have let's use Julie as an example. So Julie has worked 20 hours this week, right? Of that 20 hours, she's done. Well, it says she's done 7.75 hours of tasks, which is actually really good. So I guess she's improved. So on Tuesday, we used her as an example. That was like, she had 1 hour of tasks and like 15 hours of work. Session notes taking and attendance, session value tracking, updating session value tracking spreadsheet. So she's starting to document her task. And a lot of it isn't that people aren't doing the work, it's just they're not documenting it. So it's really exciting that people are starting to document their work. So it's good. And let's see, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Cool, perfect. So yeah, so Julie gets it. So it's just a matter of like, making sure people understand that half of their time should be going towards tasks and responsibilities. And then next thing you know, all these tasks and responsibilities are getting done. And we're actually tracking it. We know it. And then the best part about it is like for Julie, instead of just issuing her value based on her time, we can actually issue her value based on her work, right? She actually did this work, and we can issue much better value for that. And I know that doesn't really make sense a lot now, but in like a year or two, it'll make a lot of sense. All right, so I think we're good on that and ready to move on. Any last questions? So worst case scenario is that let's say someone's working 30 hours, and then Wednesday, the midweek check-in. So Wednesday midweek check-in, we look at it and like, it's like, they've done 15 hours of any time and 1 hour of, actual tasks and responsibilities, right? Maybe that's normal for like a new person who's doing a lot of training. But if it's a person who's been around for a while, whatever, the worst case scenario, we could ask them to only do tasks now, like no more meetings or whatever, right? Or we can literally tell them to, to basically stop for the rest of the week. It's like if you're not getting any work done, you're not actually doing anything, we technically could ask them to stop. But if the work that they are doing, that we have to pay them to do the work if they are doing work, regardless of what they're doing. All right. Does that make sense? So let's just go over everyone who has them done. So let's start with Anacleta. And
I'm sorry?
we're just going to quickly do your week to give you an update. So little pending travel doc decisions. So Andromeda work message meeting. Little pending like travel doc update decisions doc. So this would just sound like documentations work. Documentations work, right? Andromeda session work meeting. And so at the top here, we would have the week. Week of blah, blah, blah. And so we have overall hours, assigned tasks and responsibilities, and then lastly, client tasks and responsibilities, okay? So we could say overall is 2.5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5, right? So we got 7.5 overall. And then assigned tasks and responsibilities is 1 hour, little pending, like filling out form, how much you want to do, getting paid, Asana, sketching, catch up on Skype. So this catching up on Skype would be communications. Everything else here would be, documentations and ... So the question is, how much time did you spend catching up on Skype? That would actually be separate. So who knows whether it's half hour or whatever. But anyways, let's do a half hour or whatever. Pending task, complete the double check January value tracking self-evaluation form. This is all basically, I don't know, you could say work, reporting, and evaluations, whatever. Anyways, the point is that it's task. And then we have our Andromeda weekly session, right? So this would be so this would be 1.5, 2, I think it's 2 hours. So 2.5 hours, right? So client task and responsibilities. Currently there's nothing documented, okay? So, which is perfectly fine. And I think that, so this would be 7.5 and 2.5. So if you go back here, this would be like 7.5 and 2.5, okay? So you can see here that you're scheduled for 15 hours. So at halfway through, 7.5, you did 7.5 divided by 2. So you're a little more than halfway through, but overall, this would be, maybe it's like, an hour short. So you're pretty close. It's like, it's about half, it's about half and half, but it's just good to note that. And again, it's just for tracking purposes. So we did Nelly already, we did Jorge. Isaac isn't here, right?
No, you did mine.
We didn't do yours? I thought we did do yours.
No.
Are you sure? I have you here as 8.5 and 5.5. So let's go through it again. Okay. So week of May 14th through 20th, overall hours 8.5, assigned task is 5.5, client work 3. So it's not fully updated, but we did that yesterday, and I think it's good enough for now. Okay.
Yeah.
Updated weekly value tracker ledger. So there's not a time here, so you'd want to say like how long was that? Right. Sending emails. So was it the whole buddy team session? It might have been. Right.
Yeah.
Sending emails to missing report persons, right? So this is the Andromeda double team session. And you're saying within the session, you did another buddy team session, right? So this wouldn't count. You need to have the actual work that you were doing. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. So, and this again would be the same thing. It's like how much time did you spend doing that? Maybe it was the whole time. Maybe it was an hour, right? Or maybe you did a half an hour doing this and a half an hour doing that, right? Who knows?
Yes.
So anyways, it's not about like, exactly pressuring people, you need to track your hours to the very minute. It's just like, it's just about getting the documentation there so that we can have proof of the work that was done, and then we can issue the value and ask our client for additional value too. And this is EXA. We should put in EXA so you know that's our client work. Okay? Is that good? So Nelly's looking good. Jorge, we already did Jorge. Isaac's not here, so I think we're ready to move on.
Yesterday.
Yeah, cool. So that's good. I feel like there might have been one other thing. But I'm spacing on it. So I think we're good. Maybe I'll remember here. So what's the next topic? New evaluation form. So this would be the detailed evaluation form. Let's start by just going over the old evaluation form. So the old evaluation form should be actually on our template wrap up. Here it is right here. Ba-boom. Evaluation. And so this is something we could do on a daily, like, to evaluate sessions, to evaluate individuals. The more we're in the habit of just, quickly doing a, 30-second evaluation and just getting the data there is really good. Obviously the task here. So the responsibility is, I don't even know what the responsibility is, but the task is, I guess it relates to personnel. But the task is that we need to update the rankings and spreadsheet. So it's the personnel ranking spreadsheet. So if we pull that up, which is super easy, that would just be in the Andromeda team. We go up here. Important documents. Personnel, prioritization, and ranking. So this is us, right? Yeah. Personnel, prioritization, and ranking. So right now we just have the budget version. So we have the June budget version. Here's the ranking for June budget version. But that's just like money based, right? And it's like, that's not very exciting. So we need to do the work time version. And this is still not getting done. I keep asking to get this updated. And then there's the evaluation version, right? So now that we start having evaluations, we can start getting these in here. And Mohammed's not really involved anymore, for at least now, so we get rid of him. Cool. So, and then we'll have, multiple levels of rankings, which are much more valuable than just doing the money-based rankings. I mean, money-based rankings is like, wah, 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 wah. It's like, why would we want to rank ourselves just based on money, right? So, we get to update the personnel ranking spreadsheet for 2 parts. One is the contributions of time and effort, and the other is the evaluations interactions. So let's add this as a task that needs to be added to our task lists. Oh no, what I do? Thank you.
Someone wants to take this task on.
Excellent. Yeah.
Someone? I will do it. Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, if you want to do it, it'd be great. All right.
Yeah,
so
but I was to put it on the Asana, so.
Okay, cool. So let's say that we are doing the old form, the old general evaluation form. There's just one number, so I could evaluate, for example, like the Andromeda team is recently doing pretty good, so maybe we'll give it 7. We're getting more organized. I could.
How many of these shall we do? Because I already did one for the Andromeda team. So shall we do like another evaluation every single day?
If you feel like it, it's like if you have something new to say, or you think that if something really well was done really well, or something was really bad, it's just like, it's always best to evaluate in the moment instead of trying to think back a week or two from now. You're trying to think back, to like this other time. It's very, very difficult, So if there's something that we want to just like give feedback, just do it in the moment. But if you don't have something to think about, then don't worry. But generally speaking, the priority is monthly. So priority on evaluations is monthly. So monthly would be the top level. And then we do weekly evaluations, and then, daily/session evals, right? So this is so there's basically 3 types of evaluation. There's monthly, weekly, and daily session. So today, for example, is our weekly check-in as the Andromeda team, right? So I could think about this as like, okay, this is a weekly check-in for the Andromeda team, and I'm like, we're getting much more organized. Awesome, right? The Sonic team, they're doing pretty good. Things are coming together, maybe it's like a 5, right? So I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then the other would be Atlantic team. Maybe it still has a long way to go. Still a long way to go, right? But at least it exists, right? We have a scheduled Saturday meeting, right? So anyway, so that's just an example of really quick, 30-second evaluation. You can see, other responses. See, like, oops, I pushed the wrong button. Yeah, I lost it. All right, whatever. So you can see the responses and stuff like that. So that's the current evaluation form. So let's do the new one. So new eval. Do we have that?
Yes. 1 second, please.
Mm-hmm.
I did it. I think it's most like monthly. It's long, but it has a lot of questions that might be interesting. Just give me 1 second. I will put the link in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this will be the detail. This will be the new evaluation form, and the other one is a general / simple.
It's just an idea. It's really long, but it could work.
Yeah, this one's the detailed /
I'm sorry.
Individual / monthly, right? All right, so let's take a look here. If you can also link the actual,
I'm sorry, that was a mistake. Just wait me 1 second. This was here. There. Sorry.
Well, we want both links. There should be 2 links. All right, let's see where we're at. So new eval form. So basically what we want here is we want the link to the filling out the form. Right, that would be one step, and then the other is the link to edit the form. And usually you have to share it. So you'd want to share it with share only. You want to share it with me or whoever, right? So is it possible to share it with me real quick and get that link?
Yes.
Oh wait, maybe this is shared already. Oh yeah, can I edit? Yeah, I can edit already. Okay,
you can go. Okay.
So satisfaction. Mainly, it's just like let's just say individual satisfaction and self individual / I'm just gonna get rid of self because it could be used. Oh, this would be like the detailed. The detailed individual group satisfaction evaluation. Okay.
Okay.
So about you. So this would be about you / name of person or group. Okay. Name and age. I don't know if we necessarily need people's age. I would say that we would take that off there because that could be, this is all public information and some people don't feel comfortable sharing their age.
Okay.
I would take that off. What, you guys think that's okay to take it off or what?
Yes, let's take it out.
Okay, just for name. How long have you been working with community network? Responsibilities assigned. Average hours per month. So this we should already have this documented. But about the work, how meaningful is work to you? This is great. We like to do 0 to 9 for everything, just because that's our official documentation of everything.
Yes, okay, everything is 1 to 5, but I will change it.
Yeah. Well,
everything to 0 to 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll get it all changed to 0 to 9. So that's how challenging the work. This is great. Meaningful work. Challenging is the work. How clear responsibilities and goals defined. Very important. How are you satisfied both?
How able are you to satisfy?
How able are you to satisfy both work and personal? Oh, this is like super duper important. How much does your job give you a sense of personal satisfaction? Do you think that your salary is fair and pays you the offer? I would actually do this one as the same scale, right? So this would just be the same 0 to 9. And then this is just no and yes. About communication and feedback. How openly is information and knowledge shared within the community? How encouraged are you to communicate with the organization? How do you feel about your opinion, that your opinions matter? How do you receive actionable feedback from your coworkers? How often do you feel, extremely often, not often? How fair with their work members do you feel the organization is? That one's a little bit more confusing. How fair with their work? I guess it's just the interrelationships, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you
I didn't know how to write it well.
How fair do you think work members relate and feel with the organization and others? That one's a hard one. System growth. How interested do you think the organization is in your personal development? How often do you receive the training you need to work well? How likely would you be working for the organization in 2 years? How well do you understand the mission of the organization? And are we really only halfway through? How well do you feel that your values align with those in the company? How regularly do you receive updates and direction of the organization? Compensation, are you getting paid well? Are you satisfied with your pay? Are you satisfied with your working hours? How much do you feel respected and valued? Respect and value your coworkers. Overall, satisfied with your work? Which of the following 100%, and this would be the same 0 to 9. Which of the following satisfies your career development, relationship, compensation? Finally, do you have any comments or concerns? Self-evaluation. I deliver high quality work throughout the care. Okay, this part right here is what I was expecting for the whole thing, right? Okay. But all these other questions are really, really good. We want to keep all of this, and I can see where you're saying this is a little bit more of like a self-evaluation, you know.
Yes.
So I'm understanding that this is a lot more in depth than I would have imagined. So maybe this is something a little different. So anyways, this self-evaluation, I think, is more of what we might want to break this out as its own type of evaluation as well. You know, basically this is like, do I deliver high quality work with care? Do I complete my work with agreed timeframes and specifications, right? So this is great. I would put it as a question, you know,
yes.
Overall, how satisfied with work? So all these are questions, right? So for this one, I would keep it the same. So it'd be like, you know, just do I deliver high quality care? Question. You know, do I complete, right? And never miss a deadline.
Yeah, the idea here was like agree or disagree with the sentences.
Exactly. Yeah, it's agree and disagree. So it would still be 0 to 9, but it's just easier since the whole thing's been based on questions. It's easier to continue with the question.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's the same. Okay. It's the same idea. Is my work meaningful and contributes to organization's high-level goals and objectives? So again, this would be more like, do I think my work is meaningful and contributes to organizations? Is meaningful to the organization and contributes to the high-level goals? And then this would be a question. Do I communicate well and clearly? Am I committed and passionate? Am I committed? Oh, yeah. I mean, I would just say, you know, am I committed and passionate to this work? Am I proactively help others? Do I proactively help others in the organization? Actually, let's just use network. Because really, we're not an organization at all. Do I get things done fast? Do I get things done fast? I don't know. Do goals and accomplishment. What have you been the most significant accomplishments? Yeah. So this is definitely the main part of it. And see, this evaluation could be applicable to both individuals as well as groups. So I would say that we would take this self-evaluation part out and actually put it in another one, but that's not a problem. So goals and accomplishments, significant accomplishments, what goals you set for yourself, what things you find helpful improving, how would you support increased satisfaction, consider example. Finally, would you have thoughts regarding your work and coworkers? And the only other thing I would add here is you know, anything else, like other questions, concerns, ideas, ... I always put that almost at the end of everything, you know. Anything else? Cool. So yeah, I mean, this is a lot, but it's amazing. Any other feedback for?
I like it. It's really complete.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah. So this would be the new FL form would be the individual self-evaluation form. Oh, and then we can also pull up here. We could just get the link. I guess it would be this link here. Send and this would be the link to fill it out.
Yes.
So we have that as well. That would be this one. And this would be this one. Okay, so then we want to pull out the quote self-evaluation section of the individual eval form for a general. This would be a detailed group/individual evaluation. Okay. So maybe this might become like the weekly. This might be the weekly eval. And then the general one could be like more like the daily whenever, right? And this one might be the more the weekly, and this one would be like the monthly. Right. So I think this is a task. We'll pop that there.
I'll do it.
Great. All right. So any other additions, questions? Let's just review briefly, like the main aspects of self-evaluation would be like, communications, work accomplishment ability, and then general. Oh, this would be contributions. I think I have it here. Let's just look really quickly to see if there's anything else. Effort, contribution, skills. I think skills is a good one. So with skills, it might be like your skills, like, do your skills match the responsibilities you're being asked to do, right? And this is an interesting question because it goes both ways, right? So that's a good one. So there's effort, contribution, activities, communications, anything else? Yeah. So I think that's the only one that I think is kind of missing there. I mean, it was sort of there, but we might want to add that question. How much effort, how much effort overall do you think you are contributing compared to your potential? So that could be another question that we might want to play around with, like, are you going above and beyond your potential, right? It could be another way. Are you going above and beyond? Although I put it in the first question, I like that part.
Or you feel like you're fulfilling your position with your skills?
So anyway, so I think that's I think it was alluded to already, but that's good. Any other last ideas to potentially add?
No, perhaps something in the systems. We already have all there. How familiarized are you with the systems?
That's a good one. How familiar do you feel with the systems?
Because it's not easy.
Oh my God, so ridiculous. Tasks and responsibilities. Yeah, that one should be pretty low for most people. They're like,
I've been having a rough time to learn.
I don't even think I would be 100% on that one. I'm the one creating it all, right? So, all right. So I think we're ready to move on to the next topic. And excellent work, Ana Clara, because that's just super duper important. And then we can start filling that out for I don't know, next month. I mean, you can fill it out whenever, but we want to kind of do it at the end of the month. All right.
I'm on
it. Next topic. Oh, budgeting. Dun dun dun. All right. So let's go and index the budgeting stuff here. Okay. So generally, the goal here is to, the last thing we want is to, do last minute budgeting. Last minute budgeting is bad. So we always want to be, be too steps ahead on our budget. So the bottom line in budgeting is the official policy for the FQN community network, right, is that we want stability, right? Long-term grounded budgetary stability, right? We're trying to be the pillar to support all the other organizations that are like all over the place, right? So we have to be stable. And so what that means, what that equals is that we do annual budgeting, right? So if we have $7,000 in the bank, right, we would take $7,000 and we would divide it by 12. And so that would be $583 per month. Okay? So this is our official policy on budgeting, right? So $7,000 is a very, very small amount of money because it only equals $500 a month of actual, monthly pay that we can dish out because we need a 12-month, buffer and annual. We want to annually budget our budget, right? That's the idea. And this is what we call a temporal budget, based on the actual money in the bank. Okay, so so that's the goal. Obviously, it's not the reality. So with clients is totally different, right? The goal for the clients is that we want to raise funds for our annual budget, and we want to raise as much as we can. The simple, easy answer, for example, with the RICO. So there's 2 RICO contracts. We have 2 RICO contracts. One is for the legal architecture, and this is like the contract that I've been getting paid with, right? And I'm getting paid $2,000 per month, right? Of this $2,000 per month, I was paying myself like $1,000 per month or even less, right? So the general idea is you want to do 50%, right? That would be ideal. So if you get paid $2,000, we would want to spend $1,000 on monthly tasks and then save $1,000 for the annual and other budgets. This would be the ideal. So for example, the other RICO budget, this is the RICO professional ops budget. We have $3,000. So the ideal would be to do 50%, and that would leave us with $1,500 for the monthly costs. If you think about it, this is exactly what we are actually the work that we're being paid to do, right? So if we spend $1,500, we would charge $3,000 because we're always charging double the work we are doing, right? So if we charge $10 per hour for costs, we charge $20 per hour to the client. Okay, you guys follow me here?
Yes.
So if we do $3,000 of work, right? If we do $3,000 of work, then that would equal that we should be charging $6,000 to the client. Right? So currently in our current system, because they want us to do so much work and they're not paying us enough to do it, we're charging more money to the client than we are being paid. So we're going into negatives, right? We're going into negatives, which is basically is equal to what back pay, right? This is like a back pay agreement, right? So does everyone understand? So this is the ideal. Everyone understands the ideal. Any questions on the ideal?
Yeah, it's the ideal, but it's still not on the go, right?
Yeah, this is not what we're doing right now. So okay, so where are we now? So where are we now? Basically, we're spending all of our money, right? Which is a problem.
Yes.
And we also aren't getting enough, right? So the hope here is that we actually increase. The hope is to increase our budget a little bit. So let's think about our budget and the money that we're bringing in. And I think I just pull this out of the Sonic team. Budgeting. So this was the wrong day because we talked about the previous day. All right, so let's go to the top. Supersonic team. So the Supersonic team meets, the main weekly meeting is on Wednesdays mornings, which are our Tuesday nights. All right, so this would be Wednesday.
So do we have to discuss how or manners to or ways to increase our budget?
Yes, of course, but that would be a different topic.
Okay.
So
all right.
If we come up here to our topics, we can either say other/next steps, like, you know, investor relations and, you know, new funding sources. Okay.
Yes.
So this always needs to be a top priority, because if we all want to get paid long term, like, that's the only way to do it, is to bring in more money. You know, that's like the only way we could do it. Okay, so let me fix this. This is ridiculous. Let's go down to like 11. Okay. All right, wait, and let me just double check one other thing here. Tasks. So tasks, right? All these session tasks and stuff do not go in next steps. Tasks go under tasks, but we don't have tasks in here. So just put them right here. Just make a new thing, just tasks. And insert. Okay, cool. And you can get the tasks if you want to pull them up. You can get them through the template session notes.
Yeah.
And I'm also, like, you know, so these are the Andromeda master task list. We're also going to potentially be evolving into keeping it a little bit simpler and just having, like, the master template task list, and then just copying it directly into the master template task list. Like
it's already there.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So where was I? So yeah, back to the budget. So where we are now is budget is right around here. I think it's right around here. So our goal is to get $4,000 for the Rico professional ops. And then this is the Rico legal architecture. Okay. And so our full team budget could be $6,000 for June/July. Like, that's the hope. And we should ask for more money. We could try to put more money in, but, like, I think technically it's going to be a little less, like 3,800, but we could probably eke out 6,000. So that's the money that we have. What I'm proposing, and this is the first proposal, is that instead of, so the ideal is that, you know, we go to a 50% annual budget, right? That would be like the goal, but we could do like, you know, have 30% going to our quarterly budget, 15% going to the half-year budget, and then 5% going to the annual budget, right? Maybe this is a little much. Maybe we want to start with, you know, 60% monthly budget, and then, you know, make this 20%, right? Or maybe this is 25% and this is 10%. Right, so but the idea is, like, you know, until we actually start budgeting quarterly. So what would this mean? So if we have $6,000, and we budget 25% quarterly, that would mean we would have $1,500. And instead of telling people, like, we don't know if you're gonna have a job in like 3 weeks, right? Because right now, when we're in a monthly, it's like, we don't know what's going to happen next week. Like, we get canceled, like, anything's possible, or we just need to, you know, cut on our budget or whatever, right? So it's like there's no stability. So simply by putting $1,500 into a quarterly budget, we would be able to tell, like, you know, 3 people or, you know, 2 people or whoever, right? That we can guarantee you a stable budget for the next 3 months, right? guaranteed 3-month stable budget. Right, so this would be awesome to be able to get our budgets into the quarterly budget level instead of just the monthly budget, right? So this is the direction that I'm going to go, and so this is what I'm proposing. But so if you look at these numbers, I think I pulled it up. It comes out to like this. So if you pull up these numbers, the 3-month budget, the 6-month budget, the 12-month budget, right? It works out to about $4,000. So we could easily consider like $4,000 would be the minimum, right? So $4,000 would be the minimum that we would work with. So if we're bringing in $6,000, the minimum that we would know that we would have to work with would be $4,000. And then most likely we're going to be dealing with more like a $5,000 budget. Okay. So that kind of gives a range as we start this process of stabilizing ourselves. And this is just with our existing client. We want to get more clients, and as we bring more clients on, we can stabilize. But again, when we bring a new client on, we don't want to just blow all that money. We want to make sure some of that money is going into the business costs, which is like thinking into the future and not just all a single month. All right. So are there any questions on this concept?
No.
Right.
No, it's really clear.
Okay, cool. So we're very clear, and these are and these are all proposals.
Do we have to do a I'm sorry, Jorge. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. It was not a question about it, but let's say that if for example, Ana Clara or I or Nelly, we want to increase our working hours during the week, correct? So that will be another new planning for the budget because it will increase the income for hours, right? So.
Yep, and we're gonna go through that in detail.
All right.
Like
okay,
great. That's exactly the whole goal for this is we want to, let's go back to our desire.coms. We want to get more organized as a team, and we want to work on our monthly budget, and we want clarity. We wanted to basically know, we want to plan ahead, you know, how much, et cetera, for our budget, right? Which includes individual workers as well. Okay, so we'll get to that, but we're not quite ready for that because before we can really get into the details, we need to understand the bigger picture and how much money we're talking about. So,
all right.
One thing to understand here is the professional ops budget, which hopefully can get up to $4,000, right? But it's, you know, we know that it's currently $3,000, but we're trying to, you know, rebudget and play around with things. Right? This is, you know, basically we could say that the full team controls this, right? So Andromeda team / full team controls this, and we're going to talk more about that. Okay. This is like controlled, like Rico, it controls this, and then basically, right? So for this $2,000, I can do whatever I want with it, and that $2,000 primarily is going to be going into something more like this, right? And that's important to me to try to continue to raise money, and you'll see that this budget right here is bigger than just the $2,000 that's coming each month because I've been saving up the money and not taking it all for myself, right? So, but either way, this money, the budget that's given to the Andromeda team and the full team will be decidable by the group, right? It'll be through democracy. So in the context of, you know, probably a $4,000 minimum of what we're working with, possibly up to $5,000. And then from there, you know, we can play around with it. Obviously it could easily could be a lot less, right? The bottom line question is how do we want to break up the money? And this is what we were talking about here. So basically, the Andromeda team had $3,000 that it controlled. I'm proposing that we basically cut the Andromeda team's budget by $1,000. That the Andromeda team budget would go down to $2,000, and that the First Atlantic team would take the other $1,000. The global team had about $800,000 budget, and we would cut this And then we would put that into the Sonic team. So the Sonic team now currently has a budget of $800. Okay. The United States local team was basically me. It's basically 0.8 Bitcoin. I have about a budget of about $1,200 to $1,400, depending.
Yeah.
So what that comes out to is an ideal budget of $5,200 overall.
Correct.
Okay, so what the Andromeda team does with their $2,000 and what the Atlantis team does with their $1,000, that's up to the team to decide if they want to try to create some more stability and all this kind of stuff, right? And what we want to do. But the idea is that the bottom line is that, you know, the Andromeda team's budget would be cut. We'd be going to the Atlantic team budget. The Sonic team budget, you know, is very, very small, you know, and we don't need to bold that. We need to bold this because that's where we are right now. And the global team budget is almost minuscule. It's almost nothing. This is primarily an annual budget. So if you think of the global team potentially has as much as 200 times 12. So there could be $2,500 in some account somewhere for the global team. But they get a $200 budget. So we might be able to hire someone like Zilu, or James might be able to hire as like a full, you know, 3 to 6 months plus guaranteed, you know, position, as long as they don't increase their rate, right? So this would be for one person. So that's the goal, is to get to the point where we can start hiring some people more long term. All right. So the first question is, what do you guys think about this breakdown, this cut? This decision, right, is not made at the level of the Andromeda team. It's made at the level of RICO, right? The RICO and the RICO board, because the RICO board and the RICO owns the contract, right? And it has empowered the Andromeda team to, you know, take on some of that money. And now we're starting to empower the Atlantic team, because we need to get more. The cool thing about it is that the Atlantic team pretty much is the Andromeda team. It's like the same people, right? So this is the Saturday meeting would oversee that, and this is the Thursday meeting, right? So it's pretty much the same, but over time it would differentiate between who's in the Atlantic team meeting and who's in the Andromeda team. So are there any? So that's the first proposal. You know, we're gonna vote on it here, but generally speaking, we don't control it, but it's still good to get feedback. Proposal. So to basically split the $3,000 professional ops budget between Andromeda team and the first. So are there any objections to this proposal? Concerns?
Well, I guess that if we're talking in terms of stability, I think it's okay, because, you know, sometimes you have to stretch the budget, and if this is a way to give us stability, I would say yes.
Unfortunately,
yes.
Okay, so we're all voting yes on this, it sounds like. So Ana Clara, yes. Nelly, yes. Cool. So, but I want to make sure that it's clear that it's not actually, it doesn't actually bring stability, right? This particular proposal simply splits up the existing $3,000 budget into the two teams, but it doesn't actually apply to actually creating quarterly stability or anything like that. So the team gets to decide how the money is going to be spent within the team. So we can choose to spend all the money in 1 month, and that's the opposite of stability. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So as long as we're on the same page, so we have pretty much agreement here. And this is the minimum that we could anticipate that we would get based on the $3,000. Our goal, though, is that we would be bringing in as much as $4,000 based on this contract. Yes. And that's why this is our top priority, is getting our budget and our ask and getting all that improved upon, because we want more money. All right, so in the budget right now is really, really sketchy. Like, you know, we'll talk more about that as we go on, but let's get this done. So this looks like we have agreement. This is good. Okay, so that means that for the Andromeda team, we know we have $2,000. So that would be, so Andromeda team, we have $2,000, and we would say this is what we would call as a green budget, right? This is pretty much a go. The probability we have less than $2,000 is very low. It's possible. I mean, maybe we won't get anything, but overall, it'd be very low that we have less than $2,000. And then there's an additional $1,000 in the Atlantic team that we'll talk about on Saturday and how we want to spend that money. Okay, so are there any questions so far? Are we ready to go into individuals?
No questions, I guess we're ready.
Cool. There actually is one other component that I missed. My mom. We're getting a text message from my mom. I think that's funny. Okay, Mom says our Nest equipment is very noisy, which may be noisy. Huh. I don't hear anything right now. Interesting. The Nest equipment would be like our fire alarm and things like that. So if we hear a fire alarm go off, we'll know what it is. Okay.
Oh, there.
The dad's calling me too. All right, I should probably address the parents real quick. 1 sec. I'll be a minute here.
Okay, go.
Hey, Dad, what's up? Oh, yeah, I do hear something. Huh. All right, well, thanks for letting me know. Dilly ding ding. All right, well, a noise did go off, and the DOS says that it's a test. There was a noise, and the dad called. He said it was a test. All right, interesting. Fire drill right in the middle of the Andromeda team session. Okay, so let's get back to our budget. Okay, so
are you sure that it's a test, right?
Yes, it's a test.
Okay.
I don't smell any smoke. Although I wish I smelled pasta heating up. I want more food. Okay. So all right. So this is the other very, very important thing. And this is not a proposal, but we can still talk about it, and propose it. But basically, this is a policy, right? So let's do this up here. Actually, technically, I should have done this first, but it doesn't really matter. It's actually the same thing. So we'll do it right here. This is the perfect spot. It's done now. I'm glad the dad called. Okay, good. All right. So this is a policy. Policy on open worker enrollment. All right. So I'll try to keep it as simple as possible, but the idea is that currently the idea would be a 70-30 split between existing team members, hungry wugglies. I don't know what that means. That's really embarrassing. Okay, so anyways, 70% would be for the team budget decision making, right? So this would be decision making by the team, and then 30% would be open. This would be public and open enrollment. So there's no decision making here. No decision making. So the idea is that the direction that we want to go is that of this $5,200, which would be the ideal, that 70% of the money would be coming from, would be decided by the team, right? And then 30% would be open public enrollment, which would be the entire public would be having access. So there's a couple things happen with this. Let me see if I wrote it down. Did I write this down? So I don't have to rewrite it. No, I don't think I wrote it down. I think I just said it. So I'll try to write it down this time. So the goals here would be, one, that the teams can't basically usurp and take over the public budgets, and then also, two, that we have and basically we don't want teams to take over the budgets, right? So teams can become internal and not accountable to the public, right? And then three, so we don't want that to happen. And then three would be that we have a system to get new people in and have more of a rotating model, right? And then more importantly, four is that we have a check and balance on the team budgeting based on the public. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, so
right.
what is this? What does this actually mean as far as like decision making? It's pretty simple. There's two documents. One is, let's see if I have them here. I'm pretty sure they're here. I know the best way to get them. So we just go up to our America's Double Team doc. And then we would go to here. So this is our team prioritization and ranking. Here. Oh, that's the Sonic today. Here we go. Budgeting. So this would be our rankings for the team budget, right? And this only includes internal team members. You know, Mohammed's not really involved anymore. We can get rid of him. And then the other one, we actually have to go into the personnel doc. Too many docs open. Personnel support. And this would be, and I actually asked everybody to fill this out. So this is our new minimal intake form. And the reason why we're asking everybody to fill this out is because this new policy where we're going to be comparing everybody to the public. So not just the internal team members, but also comparing the internal team members to the public and the public rankings, right? So these are the public rankings as opposed to the internal private rankings. Right, and so let's see if everybody filled this out. So we got Nelly, Jorge, Anacleta. So we're missing Isaac, right? Isaac is missing. So let's make that a task. Task. Isaac needs to fill out the form. So maybe Nelly, you can be on that because it's a personnel matter.
Yes, of course.
Nice. So let's see what it looks like. So we have 30, 20, 30. You have 15, 10, 20. Oh boy, $8 an hour. 400, 8.8, 500. All these just have to be numbers. 10.
This is the last one, right?
Yeah, this is the last one we just did, exactly.
Okay, I just have one note on this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel this thinking already I'm going to be in Norway on August. So either way, I noted it in the answers, but that's it. It doesn't change much, but it changes a little bit.
Cool. Yeah. So anyway, so we can also make these all green because these are all people who are currently in the team and have been approved. Oh my God. Make it green. All right, and then J, I would be green as well. All right. So, and you can see a little bit here how you rank in relationship to the public, as opposed to the ranking and relationship within the team. Okay. So, anyways, the point here is that, you know, we want to take a small amount of our budget and make sure that we are prioritizing giving people in the public the opportunity to get involved who otherwise wouldn't be able to get involved. So that's pretty much that. Does anyone not understand the policy or how it works and what it means?
Yes, I understand.
You don't understand? So for example, Zilu and Julie, right? They are very, very high on the public ranking, right? And if you have Julie, let's go to June. We have Julie and Zilu, right? They're very high on the internal team ranking. So that would mean that they have a very higher probability of having their salaries more secured for longer term, and we can start getting them into the
How do you get higher in the ranking?
you get paid less money and more hours, right? It's all about the budget. So this is about the budget ranking, and then there's also the work time ranking and the evaluation ranking, right? So the work time ranking.
How do you get higher?
It's very simple. People, the more that you want to get paid and the less time that you'll be working, the more expensive you are for the organization. And we have very, very, very limited budgets. So the ranking is based on being able to fit you into the budget. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So we allow everybody to choose their own rate, right? So everybody gets to choose their own rate. We don't do any decision making, no negotiations and all ridiculousness. So we can just directly give people the opportunity to work, right? So it solves 100 problems. But on the bottom line is that if people want to ask for huge amounts of money, you know, we can't just endlessly increase the budgets and cover. I mean, it's like impossible to do that, right? So there has to be public accountability, and there has to be like a check and balance on how much people are going to ask for. So for an example, we have this new budget. Let's see if we got it under important documents here. Double team. All right, so we want to go to Sonic team. Supersonic. I love the new Sonic Supersonic team. It's great. All right, so full team budget. Okay, so here's our new budget. This is where everything's going to end up. We want to put this into full team budget. Can someone make sure this is linked to the important documents within the Andromeda team? And I'm going to open this. Okay. So for the Sonic team, right? This is the problem that we have right here. We have Ulysses, Julie, Lucy, and Abdul. They're on the provisional Sonic team. They filled out the public. This is the public ranking, right? In the questionnaire of like whether how you're going to be involved, how much you want to get paid. You know, boom. Yes. So then you prioritize them. You give them a shot, right? They said they were willing to work for, you know, pretty lower money amounts of money, and then bam, it goes up by 5 times 2 months later, right? So they're perfectly willing to do that. So this is how much they asked for the first month. This is how much they asked for the second month, and this is how much they asked for the third month, right? They're almost doubling the cost of how much they want to get paid, right? So they're asking for $2,000. And the current budget for the Sonic team is $560, right?
Wow.
It's insane. So this fits if they kept with the same amount that we originally hired them for, right? Based on their original what they told us they wanted to get paid, we would have no problem paying them. But they're asking for much more money, right? And I made it very, very clear to them the situation and what will happen if we can't do it and blah 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 blah. So this is the increases. It shows how much it increases. So we're going to do this for the Andromeda team, right? And then we'll also be doing this for the Atlantic team, okay? So in the context of, you know, the only way to combat this with our policy of letting people choose their own rate is to make sure that there's a balance with the rankings and the decision-making and the budget and all that other kind of goody jazzy jazz. So it all equates out, but basically what we're getting to the point is that something's going to happen the next month, right? I don't see any way, based on the fact that we have constrained budgets, people are asking for more money than we have. There's going to have to be hard decisions made, or we got to have to bring in more money. There's no other way around it, okay? So let's go to the basic breakdown really fast for the Andromeda team. So the Andromeda team has $2,000, and we're breaking down. The Andromeda team gets to do 70%. So 2,000 times 0.7 is $1,400, right? And then this would be $600. So we're basically saying, like, you know, maybe $600 of our budget should really go to open public accountability, you know, that we can't just like eat that up because we want to get paid more ourselves, that we really should be accountable to the public and make sure that, you know, there's balance. Anyways, Is there wiggle room here for the first month? Yes. There's plenty of wiggle room. We'll work it out. We want to keep as many people on as possible. Every single person, every single day of training is super duper valuable. But we just have to do it within the context of our budget. So does everyone understand the current situation, where we're at with the budgets, and any comments on the policy of the 30%, 70% split? I mean, we could change it to like, it could be 60%, 20% the first month, and then it could change over time, so it's flexible. There is flexibility here. There is flexibility here. But I just want to make sure you guys understand the direction that we're going, okay?
Yes, yes.
Any comments, questions?
No.
Okay.
Just okay, yeah.
So let's go into the actual budgets then. So I'm going to pull up the full team. I need to pull up the full team. So we are going to go to Supersonic team. Does not have the full team. We need the full team. Needs to be doc here. It's another task. Yellow. Whoops. All right, let's try. Is this us? Andromeda team, full team. Here we go. And I would say there's a small but possible chance that the full team budget was updated. Let's see if it was updated. I think you guys had the same budgets anyways, but all right, so boom. This is the Andromeda team budget. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, so we're looking pretty good here. So let's bring the Andromeda team budget into our meeting for now. This is us. Nope, that's Sonic team meeting. Here we are.
That's us.
Okay, so the first question is like, what has changed, right? Are these the right levels? Are we? Remember we're working on. So this was for May/June, right? So now we're talking about June/July. So we want to check in with Jorge. We want to see if there's changes for you. If there's changes for Ana Clara, she's going to Norway. So there's all these different things that we need to consider with this budget. Update it. Make sure we're all on the same page. The next thing we can understand is that the Andromeda double team might actually evolve, right? So let's just look at this. Let's say it stayed $1,800, right? If it was $1,800 and the Andromeda team has $1,400, right? And the Atlantic team had, 700, right? The total is almost 2,000. So you could easily, between the Atlantic team and the Andromeda team, you could easily fit this $1,800 budget. So we're on the same page there?
Yes.
Yeah, so if nothing changed, right, we could imply one very clear thing is that between the Atlantic team and the Andromeda team, there is enough money to, keep things on. The other thing that we understand from the previous month's budget, let's see if our decisions doc is updated. What are the chances? These are definitely not decisions. So this would be a decision here. So none of this is the decisions, right? This is just, not a decision. This is a decision, right? Boom. Yes. Okay. Proposal, Asana, double team. This is a decision. That's correct. Ongoing issues with Asana. These are not decisions. These are not decisions. So, but it is the date. So, it's getting closer. Includes splitting the two categories. All this. Provisional budget. Budget. But it doesn't actually have our budget. So we're missing our actual budget, as far as I can tell. So that's a problem.
Okay. One question, Jay.
Let's. Anyways, according to this, let me just finish one thing. So really quickly,
yep.
task, right? decisions doc is missing our previous budget decisions, right? This is a problem. I would actually say this would be, not red, but let's make it orange, right? That needs to be dealt with because it'll be a problem if we're not able to find those decisions. Previous budget, oops. Decisions. So just by memory, what we can think is like previously we had a $3,000 budget. Of that $3,000 budget, we put, $2,000 into the buddy teams, right? We put like 500 into the global team, and we put, like 500 into the full team / Rico work or whatever, right? So this was the previous budget decision making. You guys remember?
Yes.
So when we're making these budget decisions and we have, $2,000, $3,000, right? We're also looking at the context where, the Sonic team is asking for money.
For more money?
Yeah. Right. So we have to understand that if we want to pay the global team to do work for the Andromeda team, that costs money, right? If we want to pay the Atlantic team or the Sonic team or whoever to do work to help us, that costs money, right? So there was a reason why we were giving money to the global team, right? But we could also think about, all right, if we have $600 for our open team budget, maybe we just want to hire more people inside of the Andromeda team to help with the running of the Andromeda team and put those tasks into our open public accountability budget. And the key thing, if you think about when we are hiring new people, all these ones that are yellow, right? These yellow ones, these are people in the Americas, right? So when we're hiring people in the Americas, it's specific people who are going to be available for the Americas time slot, whereas the global team and the Sonic team are people who are involved at different time slots, right? So we have to, we'll be color coding these and making sure it's clear what time slots they're available. All right, Jorge.
Right. So since I filled the form that you tell us to fill today, but I told you at the end of last month, right, that probably I would have more time for June because I'm finishing some cycles of the classes. So in that regards, I would say that in order to stay in the ranking, I would say that I would work like for 15 hours for the same money because well, I like this job and actually, well, yeah, it's good. I mean, I learn a lot as well. But in this regards, because we cannot increase our budget like that.
Yes, I totally agree with Jorge. For example, I will have more time, and I would like to increase my hours. I mean, I like this work. I would like to work more. I would like to increase my hours with you.
Cool. So, I mean, in the end, it's up to each person. Everybody's in a different situation. Everyone has different reasons for needing their money. So in the end, it's up to each person. You don't need to have justification for why and how much you're asking for. We don't need to know people's personal situations. Some people need money not even for themselves. They need money for their children, or they need money for their brother or their parents. I mean, it's so complicated, right? Everyone's personal situation, right? So the bottom line is simply like, this is the minimum amount that we are willing to work for. If you don't pay me this much, I would basically not be willing to work, right? That's the bottom line, right? So, which is perfectly fine. Everyone has their rate, and then everyone has their ideal rate. One of the things that we've been improving with the Sonic team is trying to make sure that it's really clear when we're doing the Sonic team. Is this for yesterday? Hopefully this is yesterday, or maybe this is the day before, right? It's like, this is your upfront pay. Then you get back pay for anything you do above, for example, with Ulysses, 15 hours. And then you have your local equity and tokens, right? So with Ulysses, he's asking for his, he's asking for his highest rate. So he doesn't get any additional tokens. Whereas Lucy, she's asking for, she wants to work 30 hours a week, $5.25 hours back pay, plus she would get 87% overtime, right? Because anything over 30 hours is overtime. And then she's also would be getting $370 per month of full-time equity and tokens, right? Based on her local work, right? So this is actually not perfectly up to date. We would be looking at the most recent one, which I just got rid of. Anyways, we'll do it for you guys just so you can have really good clarity on it. And we'll pull up the personnel doc so we can go through each one personally. So let's start with Jorge. All right.
Okay.
Cool. And this is like super important because this is where we actually organize our long-term budgets, create stability, create all this stuff. So this is really good to get this done. So if we go to open Jorge. The first thing we'll notice is that your online personnel profile is a joke, right? It's like not really completed. We don't have ideal pay. We don't have all this stuff. So that's the first thing we want to note here. And Nelly, you could help with this out. So first thing here, Jorge's online personnel profile is probably like 45% complete, maybe less. So that's a big problem. Okay. And we'll make this yellow because it's a task. So it's good that we're checking in on this. So let's just focus on the most important things, which is basically the May-June budget, approved, done. That will be green. Oops, that will be green. And what you're getting is that right now, $300 for $10 an hour. And let me get rid of some of these docs because there are. Can we get the Sonic team in here yet? Yes, we have the Supersonic team. Okay, that's perfect. Drama team. All right, don't worry about that. And then we just need the. We'll open it up here. So the only thing we need is the personnel prioritization rankings. So this is where we like double, triple check everything. You guys can help with this to make it go faster, but basically we just double check for Jorge, right, is $300, which works out to, oh no, that's ideal. $300 monthly rate for 324 is the total. And then you're saying you might want to change like 15 hours, okay? So that would change your ranking, right? It brings your, look at how much your ranking changes. That's insane, right? So if you go 10 hours, your ranking is 1643, right? If you change it to 15 hours, you bounce up considerably. Isn't that interesting, right? So little changes can make big changes in the ranking. So anyway, so that's so, it's odd for someone to change their hours without also changing their pay. So that's why the ranking changes so substantially, right?
Well, actually, as you told me, yeah, during June I can work more hours, but I need to check because I will be like stopping classes, like some classes, because like half an hour, like from half an hour more would represent me to take a cab to be earlier, not to take the public transport. And yeah, so probably one day I will not be able to do it, so it will be like 14 hours a week. Yeah, probably 13.5 because some classes I cannot move. But yeah, I guess that's the main idea. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so then the next thing we have here is it says that your ideal monthly rate is $300 for 10 hours, right? So the first thing that we can obviously understand here is that it's not technically possible for your ideal pay to be.
No, but it's not $300 for 10 hours. It's $300 for 40 hours. So it was 10 hours a week, right?
But we're doing just weekly. We just put it in the weekly rate. So your ideal pay would be $300 per month for 10 hours per week.
Correct.
So that's what your ideal. So the first thing we know is that if you're asking for $15 an hour for 300, then first of all, obviously this isn't your ideal pay. Your ideal pay would have to include 15 hours a week, right? But let's just go back to your ideal time. So before, your ideal time was 5 to 10 hours per week. So the question is like, what is your ideal time? Like your actual ideal time at this point for the next month? This is June, July, like moving forward.
It would be like 13 to 15 hours a week.
All right, well, let's just put 15 hours per week. If you want to put 14 hours per week, we can't. Doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Do you want 13, 14, 15?
Well, still need to decide because, as I told you, I need to. I would have to cancel some classes, like 2 classes during the week.
Sure, so but again, this isn't actual. This isn't actual. This is just ideal.
All right. Yeah, it would be ideal. Okay, 15 hours. Let's say ideal. Yes.
So then, what would ideally you would be paid for the 15 hours? So if you were getting 300 before for 10 hours, ideally you might be wanting 15. Wait, if you did 300 divided by 10, you were asking for $7.5 an hour, or something like that. So times 15 is, oh my God, times 4 is like $450.
It would be not like 400. Let's say 350, 380, around 400.
Well, I mean, this is your ideal. Just put 400.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, so this is your ideal. So basically, what that would mean is on here. Let's go back to you over here. The first thing we would note is that your pay. So ideally, your pay would be let's see, 300 divided by 30. No, 15. 300 divided by 10 divided by 4 is $7.5 an hour. So I would say potentially, I mean, you didn't even make sure this is right. It would be $7.5 per hour for back pay. Back pay, you know, I don't know. Let me double check. This is where we're double checking and triple checking everything. So we go to Jorge, and we have here that it's it's $7.50 an hour. That's what we have here. So your ideal, oh no, that's ideal, which is the same. So your lowest agreed back pay is oh no, it's $5. That's $5 an hour. So maybe it's $5 an hour. Let's just make sure that it works out. So if we go to here, it'd be $5 an hour for back pay plus 25%. And that would be your back pay. And let's make sure that works out. So you do 300 divided by 4 weeks divided by 15 hours. That works out perfectly. Right? So that would be the minimum you could do. You could do more than that, but that would be the minimum you could do. So then plus this, if your total ideal pay is 400.
Guys, we should be wrapping up this subject so we can go to checkouts and that stuff.
Okay, getting into wrap up. All right, sweet. So let's at least finish up with Jorge. We're almost done. So if we do 400 a month for 15 hours a week, that would be your ideal. But you're only getting paid 300 a month. That would be $100. Right? So that would be $100 per month of that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. But those equity and tokens, we shall we discuss them later, or?
Yeah, we can discuss them later. That's fine.
Okay.
Cool. So that's what I have for Jorge, and then there's still some more updating to do. You know, like we'd want to make sure this all works out. So there's also the base jurisdiction's $1,000 for, and then we're changing our ideal time to 15 hours. Your ideal monthly rate would be 400. How does that change to 7? Maybe I am getting this wrong. Oh no, your ideal is 7, right? So you could change your ideal, your lowest back pay to 7 if you wanted to do 750. Anyway, so I think that's all looks pretty good. The only other thing to double check is to make sure your jurisdictional base rate works. Okay, so if your jurisdiction is 1,000 and you're working part-time, that would be half, would be $500, okay? So what that would mean is that
jurisdiction pay would be like the minimum wage here in Colombia?
No, it would be the living wage, actually pay your full amount. So this would be an additional $200 per month of jurisdictional equity tokens. Does that make sense? So you're asking for $400 a month as your ideal. You're getting $300 a month up front. You're asking for $400 a month, but the actual jurisdiction is $500 a month for part-time. So you get an additional $200 a month of jurisdictional equity and tokens. Plus, of course, you're also getting the global, there's the global equity. Yeah, plus global minimum. Have you guys seen your equity? Have we gone over the equity forms real quick? That would be a fun thing to do.
Yeah, let me check that.
So if we go to the Americas Double Team and we pull up Jorge, since we're on Jorge here. Goodness, where is it? There we go, individual main docs, Jorge. Jorge's time and equity assets. All right, so you got paid $176. You got paid $289 in according to this, right? We would need to double check and triple check this, make sure it's all right. But basically, it shows exactly the percentage time you worked each week, the percentage time for the month, and your percentage time for the year currently, right? So this would be your back pay. You actually have 0 back pay, but for whatever reason it says that you have some back pay, but we know that you didn't because we paid you your full rate. Your direct jurisdictional equity is what we just talked about, and then your direct local equity would be on top of that. Okay. Okay. And in this case, it's reversed, right? So here it would be $700 a month. Based, well, actually, it's $1,000 a month. So this isn't correct. So that would be $1,000 for jurisdiction, and this would be you're doing it's $400, $800. Okay. So these are negative because we basically paid you the full amount that you asked for that month, but then this month it might change based on the new figures and values. So. Anyways, maybe the last month it was 600. I don't know. Anyways, the point is that this is where all of the equity is calculated. Plus, you have all the global minimum equity, so it tallies up here to the total. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So we'll go through this all. It needs to be double and triple, quadruple checked, and it's not. And we're not going to do it right now. I just want to make sure you guys know that these numbers that we're talking about when we talk about our budget, right? So these numbers right here, these are actual numbers, right, that go into your tracking for your equity. And the global team's been taking care of that all for you guys on the back end. You guys don't even have to pay attention to it. And it's a lot of work. So it's really cool that they're doing that. All right, so we still need to go through Ana Clara, Isaac, and Nelly, and then just see where the budgets are and everything. But let's go ahead and wrap up.
Maybe we can say like half an hour. I don't know the rest.
Okay, yeah. Let's just.
I can say 1 more hour actually.
Yeah, well, let's just go through where we're at. So I'm fine. Nelly, Jorge needs to leave earliest, and Ana Clara needs to leave earliest. So we do Ana Clara and Jorge first, right?
Yeah.
And then we would do Nelly. That sound good? So we'll do Ana Clara real quick.
Sounds good.
But before we do that, let's just make sure there isn't anything else that we need to cover. So the setup situation is pretty clear. Team equity, we're just gonna have to postpone that. Atlantic team support, we have that already for Saturday, but we want to make sure we're there. This is basically just James. We need to make sure we're in touch with James. We need to make sure we're in touch with Zilu and others who are going to be involved in the Atlantic team. And James I don't think James would be part of the Andromeda team budget, and he's just not present enough, but he might be involved in the Atlantic team budget or the global team budget. So we'll see how that works out. Okay, so I think that let's just quickly do next steps. Are there any other next steps that we can think of that we're missing?
Any other next steps? Let me check. Nope.
Okay, so I think our tasks are good, responsibilities, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And we need to talk, there's a house meeting later today too, at 6. So I think we're pretty good. Let's just
do you want a class?
Well, no, I wanted to check in one more time on the setup. So if I go to the template, do I have the template here? Let me just pull up the template really quick. Template. So this would be wrap up. Okay, so next steps, evaluation. The only other thing on the evaluation is we want to get the weekly evaluation form, and that would be a task for everybody to do. So maybe we'll start that next week. Meeting value tracking, we already have someone on that. Our schedule, I think, is all organized. Oh, there actually is an update on the schedule, actually. So if we go quickly to unitynet.info, calendars, go to the Americas time. So, oh, wow, that's messy. Okay, so next week, there's a couple scheduled things that are important to note. Team meetings on Wednesdays is Community Wednesdays. Saturdays is Community Saturdays, right? So the Andromeda team, as it currently exists, is only going to be meeting Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays is the main Andromeda session, and Fridays. On Wednesdays, we're going to do a quick little Andromeda session at the end of the Atlantic session, like right here, to kind of check in, do some work for value tracking, that kind of stuff. And then it's going to be the Support Alliance's life support. The FQN experience is going to happen after that, and then the community steering team. This is the steering team for the whole Americas network. So Wednesdays is going to be a literally different schedule than typical days. Okay, does that make sense, everybody?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
On Thursday we have the new moon. The new moon is the beginning of the month, and that's Thursday. So as far as the global team goes, this will be a global team meeting, and so we would highly encourage everybody to attend that if you want to. And this would be coming just an hour early. Okay. So I think that's it as far as the schedule goes. All right. Cool. All right. So let's get back to any other questions on anything? Wrap up, evals, next steps, anything, or are we guys ready to go into Anaclada?
For me, it's okay if we move to Ana Clara's.
Okay, just to make sure we finish up with Jorge. Ideal time, you had 20 hours here on ideal time. Is that just incorrect? It's 15. Change this to 15. Are you listening to me, Jorge? Are you there?
Yeah, sure, I'm here.
All right, so on the form you filled out that your ideal time was 20 hours and $500 a month.
It was 40 hours a month, and
well, no, you said your ideal time was 20 hours a week and $500 a month.
Oh yeah, that was the questionnaire I filled in today, right?
Yes. So the idea here is that, you should put whatever you want for your ideal time. Like if your ideal time is 20 hours a week, then we should put that there. And if your ideal time is actually $500 a month, which is equal to the jurisdictional rate, we should add that.
Yeah, sure, but you told me that I could like put there whatever, right? But I just want to like increase the budget because that would mean like less points.
Sure, but you got to understand that your ideal pay doesn't change the upfront budget of our Bitcoins.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Only the upfront budget here is what affects our actual money. So what's important is just getting it correct. Like if your ideal pay is actually $20 an hour and $500 a month, then that's what we should reflect in your personnel profile. If you want me to change it to $15 an hour and $400, that's perfectly fine, but we just want to make sure that it's correct.
Yeah, it's correct. You can leave it like that for 115.
Okay, yeah. All right. And you can always change it in the future. All right. Sweet. And then here you have I'll deal there, lowest pay and lowest hourly pay rate. So this is obviously a mistake. We forgot to divide by 4. And this one also, bam. And maybe mine as well. Oh, let's do that. Okay. And that'll definitely change it a little bit. Jorge, now it's 8. So that definitely changes.
Oh, no, it's the other way. The lowest is 8 and the highest is 15.
Well, I was saying 8 million.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. 8, it comes out to 8 million. I still don't know why it's, oh no, because this is 15 now. So you're saying you want 15 hours a week, and so it's $667 an hour. Oh wait, but you're not asking for 400, you're asking for 300. All right, I think we're done updating Jorge. And now it goes to way, way higher. So now you are up here. You're 17th on the public, this is the public ranking. All right. Cool. So that is done. Let's do done. Andromeda session. Back to budgeting. Oh no, I'm getting the spinning wheel of death. I need to delete more of these ridiculous number of notes. Oops. All right, hopefully that helps. And I can also do some of this. Quit some of these programs. Oh, yay, look, it's working. All right. So let's open Anacleta. Anacleta. So we really do want to take Anacleta's contact information out of her public personnel profile. Like you shouldn't have personal identifiable contact information. So that would be a task.
Okay.
Take out Anacleta's contact information and put it into the contact list. You can certainly, just like with all your bank information, you could say you wanted your contact information to be public, and then you would add your contact information to the public contact list is where it would go.
Okay.
And we'll get to that eventually. All right, so that could be another task is the public contact list. Public contact list. I think James is working on it. James, I don't know. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. Basically, so this is all actually old. So April, May, June, July. Next quarter, going to Norway. July, okay. So this was approved. This was approved. And so now we're talking about, oops. There's definitely a lot of things that could be getting updated on these personnel profiles. All right, ideal pays 1,000, June, July is here. Okay, we're making progress. Let's start with the new form. How about? Since you said that you filled it out, that it was here, find Andromeda. So ideal lowest time 15 hours, $500. So my understanding is that would be the same. 15,500. Isn't that the same?
No, it's like now I'm earning like 8.8 per hour. In August, I will need like $10 or something like that.
Okay, so
those were my calculations.
So the next one,
but
so
this month,
June,
yes,
July,
it's the same.
July, August, right? And then there would be August, September, right?
Okay, so July, August, it will be the same.
July, August is the same? So June, July, and July, August is the same, but August, September, it would go up somewhat. It would change.
Yeah. Or more hours, I don't know, but I need it like earning more.
Yeah, so you're saying basically somewhere around $10 per hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can figure that out. All right. But the first thing is just to figure out what we want to do for now. So this is why like these forms are only first like a one-time like where you're currently at, right? Where in all the rankings, right? Whereas your public personnel profile can do it month to month and how it changes and evolves, and you can actually go in and change it yourself too. So this is the most highest level of any personnel's information and the request that they're asking for. Like this is the definitive number here, okay? All right, so let's see what we can finish up here. Oh, and there's one other thing for Jorge's. I forgot. We just want to make sure that we copy all of this in there. We forgot to do that. All right, so Ana Clara, so for this particular month, it's the same. Ana Clara,
yes.
You still there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, it's the same. This month is exactly the same.
Okay, cool. So 507 for $15 an hour, and we can just work out that. It should be here. So if we go to Ana Clara, the base jurisdiction is $10 an hour already. Its ideal rate is $1,500. Ideal pay is all clear. $500 lowest rate, $15 an hour is $532. Plus the 25 is $532. And the lowest hour is no, it's this one. It's $833. Okay, that's what I have. So let's see if this is correct, and then we'll get it all. I lost you guys. Jorge's gone. Okay, so $500, $15. So then we do back pays plus $8.33 per hour plus 25%. Okay. Then we do, and it says here 1,000 ideal, but what I have here is your ideal is actually $1,500 a month and 30 hours a week.
Really? Oh, yeah, but that is thinking in Norway. The last form I filled.
Well, I think the last
that
one
information
is different. So in the last one, you said $1,200 a month for 30 hours a week. It really doesn't matter. I mean,
I cannot see it.
It doesn't matter what we want. We just want to make sure it's the correct amount.
Yeah, so I don't know. Just use the whichever it is. I don't remember.
Well, I mean, it's up to you, to decide. Like, you can decide either one. And the average of the two. So if you do 1,500 and 1,200 is 1,350 if you average them. So do you want to do 1,350, 1,200, or 1,500?
Let's do the average.
Okay, so we're going to change
between those two.
1,350, which comes out to a minimum of $11 per hour. But that doesn't really matter. Okay, so then we have the $833 number, 532. Okay, so it's going to be 532 for 15 hours, plus we're doing the 833 back pay. I think I have that here already. Yes, copy that. Plus we have 14 hours, so 500, so it's 1,000. So your ideal pay is 1,350. So it would be 350 divided by 2 would be 350 divided by 2 is 175. 175 per month. Local equity. All right, I think that's complete, and then obviously plus global minimum.
Can you just please explain to me a little bit more about local equity and tokens, because I think I didn't understand quite well.
Cool. Well, we haven't gone through it too much. So there's two numbers. One is the local jurisdiction and one is local equity. So local jurisdiction is if someone's getting paid less than their jurisdiction, right? You're automatically getting additional jurisdiction, but you're not asking for that money, right? So for your situation, let's look at this. And this could change when you go to a jurisdiction. You can also average between jurisdictions. If you're going, some people go between jurisdictions. So they live and they travel between multiple places. So for you, we have here that your jurisdiction is 1,150, right? And you're asking for 1,350. So you're asking for more than the jurisdiction base value, which is typical, right? You would think that if the base jurisdiction value is what it is, that people would want to ask for more than that. So
I will leave like, well, minimum wage in here.
Yeah, but again, the jurisdiction base rate should be well above minimum wage already, as far as like a living wage. So anyways, the 1,350 would be what you're asking for, right? And we're paying you $1,000 a month full time, right? So you're getting half of $1,000 because you're working $1,500. So there's $350, right? That is additional there that you would want to be paid if you could be, right? Which works out to $175 per month of local equity and tokens. And this would be for part-time. So does that make sense? You're asking for $175 per month more than we're paying you. So if we had it in our budget to pay you, we would want to pay you more money up front, and if we didn't want to give you tokens and equity. But you can choose to take the tokens and equity, which is perfectly fine. So does that make sense?
It is.
Do you have questions about what the equity and tokens are?
Fine now.
For now, you're fine?
I do have questions about tokens, and Jorge, I know he had questions. By the way, Jorge had the electricity went off in his in his place, so he had a problem.
So I have a question.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Is there any way I have it here like in hours, right? Is there any way you can do it like lower for this month? Don't need the like I don't really to go this month hour, but this do fine if my numbers are like the same month before. For me, I think there's no up, and not just this month that we have like our budget really tight. So dollars, but I think that we can do this exactly this month before, just right now. We'll let you know when I need more because I'm moving out. This is no needed.
Okay, so I mean, the only thing that would really I mean, I can't fully hear you, kind of crackled in and out there, but
Yeah.
One thing to consider is that under the spreadsheet working hours and pay, of all the people last month, you basically worked an average of about 10 hours a week, right? So it was like 13 hours, like 9.5 hours one week, 9 hours the next week, 9 hours the week after that, right? And then you did do a lot at the very end, which you got paid for because we have a monthly budget. But if you look at 47 hours and you divide that by 5, it worked out to about 10 hours a week, right? So, at some point in time, and we budgeted for you $625, but you basically only did the work of like $400 of work, right? So you certainly could technically, if you didn't think you were going to work more than about $10 an hour a week, it helps our budget to fit you into the amount of hours you think you're actually going to work. So that's definitely fine. If you think that you could work 15 hours a week, that's also perfectly fine. It's up to you. It's your decision how you want to make your budget proposal.
Yeah, I think I want to work like 15 hours per week, but at the total, like at the end of the month, we could make it like 400, 500 and not 532.
The 532 is the fees. So this includes fees.
Okay. So this is exactly like.
So this is how much it costs us to pay you is $532. You receive $500.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. I understand now.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Okay. So it all makes sense. This is good. This is your proposal.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. Now I understand.
Cool. And then we can just make sure it adds up correctly. 532 plus 324 is 856 for the buddy team. And that would be for 30 hours. And then technically, the other thing to note here is that Jorge needs to approve Ana Clara's pay, and then Ana Clara will approve Jorge. That's like the next step, right? I wonder if I can pull that up still. We have the full team doc, Supersonic team. Oh, here, Supersonic team. This would be yesterday. So the only thing left to do for Ana Clara is just to update all of his, figures to make sure it's correct. My internet is just not happy one bitty bit. Hi, Jorge.
Hi guys, I lost because it was power cut. Sorry.
Cool. We finished Ana Clara.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So that's good. And then Ana Clara, you can write in here what the change for August, September would be, so that we can plan ahead. So One
with
example
someone else, because I'm not that sure how to solve it. Like, it's another country, another jurisdiction.
Well,
all again.
Yeah, I mean, my assumption is that, when I think of Norway, I think of Finland. Finland, our jurisdictional value for Finland is about 40,000 a year. So if we do 833 times 15 hours, so this would be 10 times 15 times 4. So it would be probably like 600 would be the minimum, 600 for 15 hours. And that would be $10.
I'm sorry, did you hear that?
No.
I got a phone call, so everything got mixed in the cell phone. Sorry.
Cool.
So you were telling me about Finland?
Yeah, just in general, Finland is we do it's a $40,000 jurisdiction. It's about that. It's about $40,000.
Yeah, I know that Norway is really expensive.
Yeah.
I thought about like maintaining the rate per hour so it doesn't go up, but working more hours.
Yeah, that's
not like changing teams.
Yeah, cool. So, anyways, we'll
because
just,
of course, yeah.
The answer to all of our problems is always, focusing on investor relations, getting investors, and getting more clients and bringing in more money, right? So that's always the answer. But
yeah.
I think as long as we have a clarity and a good plan, for example, the only reason I even get paid at all, right? Because I didn't used to get paid. I used to just basically work for free. The only reason I get paid is because this RICO budget, right? This one here for the legal architecture, I created it, right? So I created the ability to bring in this money. So therefore, I'm the decision maker on the money, and so that particular budget I control. It's my agreement. It's my contract, right? Whereas this budget wouldn't happen without you guys. You guys make that budget happen because I wouldn't be able to do that work. You know what I mean? So Anna Clara, if you were involved in bringing in a new budget, you would have say on how that new budget would be distributed. So you'd have more control over stability, even though you needed a higher amount of money than other people.
Right.
Cool, yeah.
Okay.
So let's. Okay, so I think that there was a couple more things on Ana Clara to finish up, and then we're gonna go to Nelly. And did this ever come back up? Supersonic team. I was gonna try to look at. Oh, here we go. This is it. So.
Sure.
Budgeting. So I put some steps. I'm trying to get more into steps so that people can see. Oh no, this isn't it. And this is yesterday. So I need to go the day before. The day before. Okay. Let's try this one. Budget. And steps. Oh yeah, the process. All right, there we go. It finally worked. So the process, each individual proposes their budget the following month. So this is what we're currently doing.
Okay.
So we're almost done with this. We still need to get Isaac finalized, etc., etc. And this would be the month of June, July. Step 2, the provisional or primary buddy teams approve each other's work hours and pay, right? So Jorge needs to approve Ana Clara. Jorge, by definition, he's higher ranked than Ana Clara, but Ana Clara still needs to approve Jorge as well, right? So that is the next level, and the same thing with Isaac and Nelly, right? If either Isaac or Nelly or Jorge or Ana Clara didn't want to approve themselves, like a good example could be the Supersonic team, right? Did I get the other notes here? Yeah. So in the Supersonic team, we have Ulysses and Abdul. Ulysses might not want to approve Abdul. There's still some questions about that because Abdul is doubling his pay and doubling his hours. I mean, look, the whole Sonic team, they're asking for 4 times as much money as they have. It's like insane. And then on top of that, Julie, I believe, reduced it to 400. I think she's like 406 now. So she and Ulysses could pair up. So if Ulysses said no to Abdul, he could make a new buddy team with Julie and potentially fit it into the budget. You know what I'm saying? So basically by saying no doesn't mean that they can't be part of the budget. It basically says that I don't want to be a buddy team with you because that might not be good on the budget, right? So I should get buddy team with someone else who'd rather prefer to be buddy team with me, right? And then they can find a buddy team with someone else, And technically speaking, the direction we'd be going eventually is that we don't even approve individuals in the budget. All budget approvals are by buddy team. All right, the provisional buddy teams and primary buddy teams, main buddy teams is where the approvals come together. All right, so that's step 2. Step 3 is our double team approvals, which happens in this case at the Andromeda team meetings, etc. Then you have the full team approvals and the global session approvals. So this would be like, and this would be global meetings. Do you guys understanding the process of the budgetary decision making?
Yes.
So we got Jorge and Ana Clara done. So now you guys would want to approve. You guys can do that on your own time. So it's like there's not pressure. But you eventually would want to hear documentation from you guys being like, yes, we approve our buddy team proposal. And then you guys would be proposing collectively the 856 for 30 hours. All right, so now we're ready for Nelly. Do you guys need to check out? Like I know Jorge and Ana Clara, you guys said you needed to leave at this time. So do you guys want to check out real quick? And then
yeah, I need to check out.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, me too.
Okay, you go first.
Okay. I'm just gonna run because I need to catch the bus and see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for today's meeting. It was quite instructing.
Great.
See you.
Yeah,
Okay.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.
Ana Clara, you want to check out?
Well, yeah, this meeting was very useful. I think that this is stuff that we need to get comfortable with. So it's good to take the time to do it and understand it. So for me, will be also productive that we probably have to work this budget because I don't think that everyone is going to approve everything. I expect not to, actually. So I think that will be training also, so in how to negotiate and how to help each other and how to figure out things together.
Yes.
So for me, this was an awesome meeting.
Yes.
I hope to do a lot more tomorrow. My internet connection is not working at all, but I found a nice place to work without problems. In here, internet problem is in the whole neighborhood. It's everyone is out with internet. So that's it for me. I hope to tomorrow speak to you guys about Asana because I don't know if it is working. I don't see people using it except me and somebody else. So maybe we should go around that to check what we could do to make things better, improve it, and make it useful for everyone. So this was a really good meeting. Thanks a lot for everything. And talk to you tomorrow, guys.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, Nelly, it's me and you. I think we lost.
Okay.
I think we lost James a long time ago. All right. So cool. Let's do it. And we know Isaac is 0.25 Bitcoins, 15 hours. And we need to confirm for, that was last month, so we'll have to confirm for the next month.
I sent him a message, but I don't know if he filled the form.
No, he hasn't filled out the form yet.
He hasn't, okay.
So anyways, generally speaking, I just want to respond to what Anacleta just said.
Yeah.
Which is that, we always want to be budgeting ahead of time, and getting all of our budgets organized ahead of time instead of doing it last minute. But I just see, like last month I was pretty lax on the budgets because we were still getting started, and it was like, but overall, we're spending a lot of money on the budgets, and especially with like the global team and stuff like that, and like how much work is actually getting done. And then from there, more importantly, is that people just keep increasing how much money they're asking for, right? Especially with the global team. So, the Andromeda team, it's easier to communicate and understanding. For me, I spent a lot of time trying to explain to the Sonic team, right, in the global team, to make sure that they understand that they're asking for, almost 3-4 times as much money than is budgeted, right? And that the consequences of that is that somebody might, be cut from the budget, right? And so I'm sure that they understand that. But so anyways, the Andromeda team and the Atlantic team are going to have to deal with those.
In my case, for example, is that the form says ideal pay, right? So
the form
wrote my
says
ideal pay.
Exactly. So under ideal pay, you write your ideal pay, and that's your ideal pay, and that's how much we pay in equity and tokens, and that's how much we would want to pay if we had the budgets for it, right? Hopefully eventually we'll get, hundreds of thousands of dollars of investors, right? So the lowest monthly pay rate is like what the lowest you're willing to do without basically saying like, I refuse to work. And that's basically what we're asking for. If we can't meet their lowest expectation, they shouldn't be working with us, right? So we don't ever want anyone to go lower than their lowest. So we prefer just to tell them, look, we can't have you work this month, maybe when we get the more budgets, we'll be able to hire you, So I think that's just the fair way to do it. So anyway, let's just go through you, work it all out, and then we'll go from there, okay?
Okay, sure.
Cool. So let's start with opening up your personnel profile. So we go into Nelly. And by the way, Ernesto, right? Like, remember he went from like, oh, Ernesto's, Isaac's friend who's going to work for just tokens and not, you don't have to pay him, right? He filled out he filled that out, and he's asking for $333.
What?
For 10 hours.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's out of the budget.
It is definitely out of the budget, so he's on our list. We'll see if we can fit it in the budget in the future, but we need to make sure it's clear to Isaac that, at this point, especially for the middle of the month, it's just not possible. And whether we even be able to fit him in for the next month, we don't even know if that's going to be possible. I
think something, for example, that Jorge and I discussed is that what we want to do is like have more hours and have more, because there is a lot of work, so we want to do the work.
Of course, yeah, that's definitely perfectly fine. So, the lowest number of hours you're willing to work for allows us to reduce the total budget, right? But if you increase your hours without, increasing the amount of time, that you increase the number of hours without increasing the amount of money being paid out, that it doesn't affect anything. So the more hours that you're willing to work with, the less money is the ideal, right? That's always the ideal as far as the budget's concerned. That's not the ideal as far as individual life needs and basic life necessities. So it's always a balance. There's no correct answer to how much you want to be paid and what the lowest amount of time and monthly you were doing it. But typically the reason why we put it in the context of the lowest time is because typically people would say the more hours they want to work, the more they want to be paid. Like, that's just obvious, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So let's go for opening your public profile. And so far, it looks for your jurisdiction isn't updated, so we can put that a little bit. And obviously, your general availability is like, Americas plus some Atlantic plus some. I think it's after America's session. I think it's Pacific, right? Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Position the goals. That's all good. Current commitment, 15 hours a week. Received so far, obviously received some money. See equity assets. Currently getting. All right. Cool. So now we're looking at June, July. It is also good to mention that at some point, like let's say, someone's willing to work 10 additional hours per week, but they still need like $700 a month. At some point, it's like, it's better to reduce the number of hours and reduce the amount to allow it to fit into the budget, right? Because then the bottom line isn't the hours. The bottom line is always like how much money is going into the budget itself. The hours is really just for ranking. But anyways, I think overall the Andromeda team is in the best situation, right?
Good.
The Sonic team is in a much worse situation. So I don't know what's going to happen with the Sonic team. Like, I really would love to keep Abdul. Like, he's great, but if it's going to cost us $900, I don't know. And it's not really.
But Abdul is great.
I know he's great, but it's like he was working for $300 a month.
Oh, and now he wants $900.
Now he wants like $800. So it's like he wants to double. He wants to basically go from 15 hours a week. He wants to go to 30. Right, he wants to go full time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know how we pay for that, So, yeah. But if we can figure it out in the budget, we should totally keep him. And we can fiddle around some with the budget and reduce people. So, anyways, let's do yours. So June, July. What's your final offer? Your final what you want to put, and we can update.
I really don't want to put you in trouble. So if you want to do the same, like for June, July, it's okay.
Again, it's not putting me into trouble. That's what I'm trying to get across to people.
Yeah.
Right? Like it doesn't affect me at all. Like, people can propose any budget that they want, and they're just if it doesn't fit in the budget, then they're cut. It's not even a decision that I'm going to be making. It's like we just can't. If we can't fit you in the budget, we can't fit you in the budget. It's that simple. So.
Yes.
So it's not like everyone always asks me, like, especially in the global team, they're like, is this okay? Is this right? Is this, I'm just like, well, I don't know. I mean, it's like, what do you need? What is your, it shouldn't be based on what I am willing to do, because there's nothing to do with me. It's all based on the individual's needs and what you actually need. And that's the hardest question about it.
Maybe you're not get used to, but in our cultures, we are used to have this boss figure.
Oh,
so you are our boss.
Well, sure. I'm definitely the boss when it comes to the work that's getting done and what's going on. But when it comes to the budget by definition, in the way that we're organized as an organization and a network, it has to be a collective contribution. And people, and if the people in our teams are going to be involved in the level of organization that we're doing, with all of the value tracking and the finance work that we're doing, if people don't understand basic budgetary context, then they really aren't going to be able to meet the needs of our long-term workers. So if you're willing to work for low cost and train, I mean, people are getting training. I mean, a lot of people should be paying us to go to school working within our organization.
Yeah.
Because people are going to be learning so much on both the global level and the local level, and like how to do all these different tasks and skills. So in some ways, eventually we'll have our own academy and schooling and everything. But in the context of, if somebody keeps asking for more and more money, like if we look at the budget for the Sonic team budget, right? It's not fair. I mean, we're hiring them because they said that they would work for this amount, and then they're tripling it, right, or quadrupling it. it's not fair to us either. You know, it's like you said you would do this, and then every month you go up, right? So that's a problem, because then you're basically what our new model is going to do, right? By making sure that we're accountable to the open public ranking.
Yeah.
Is that you can't just come in and then triple and quadruple your budget and then screw everybody else out of it that wasn't chosen the first round, right?
Okay.
It's like if you do that, then there's a check and balance there that, you know, at some point we're always going to be allowing people who are new people to get involved. And that's like super important for a publicly accountable organization, you know, is that new people have to always be able to get involved based on what they're willing to do as a period. So for example, Zilu is #1 on both the internal team ranking and the public team ranking. Right?
Yeah.
So we couldn't even cut him from either. You know, so we're publicly accountable. Zilu is my boss. Right? In the whole model that we have, Zilu is technically both of our bosses. He gets to make the final decisions on HR and personnel and recruitment, all that stuff. You know, so, you know, as long as somebody is, if you're in the top of both the public and the internal, we literally can't get rid of you, because you're not eating up the budget. You're obviously accountable to the public and anybody who's willing to work. So it's good to go, right? Anyways, remember, for us, we also are working with the Americas. So the Americas is not the global; it's a different system. It's perfectly fine. So let's just get it done. Move it on. It's not a big deal. And I also want to make sure I got Anacleta's updated. So we got her updated for 1350 and 500. So on this one, Anacleta, just gonna double check. Where is she? She should be green. Here we go. Anacleta. So it's 1350 for 30 hours. Ideal 10 hours. Lowest is 15,500. 8.8. All right, so that's something that we missed. So if we go here, she's saying that Ana Clara wants her lowest is going to be 8.8. Just going to change that a little bit. And I'm really happy that Jorge changed his, because he's now ranked like super duper high. He's ranked above Isaac, which is great, because Jorge is awesome. We want to keep him, you know?
Yes, he is awesome.
I know. All right, so is he ranked higher than me? No. Good. I don't want anyone to be ranked higher than me. And of course, the reason why I'm ranked so high is because I'm getting paid like 11% of the jurisdictional rate.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Although my ideal rate is 7,500. I'm getting paid.
That's your ideal.
Yes. Well, my ideal is my jurisdictional rate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my ideal is working 30 hours a week, right? Where my actual is I'm actually working 50 hours a week.
Yes.
You know, so it's like, what do I do about that? I can't not work 50. Like the lowest I can work right now is like 50 hours a week. I can't not work that much, and I don't want to work 50 hours a week. But in this point in time where all the training's happening, I can't really do anything about that. So, anyway, that's why I'm ranked as
you will
high.
be able to lay back later.
Oh, I know.
You'll
totally.
see. Yeah.
Oh, I'm totally stoked on it. I can't wait. You know, but the only way that that's possible is if we control our budget. If our budget is out of control and we're paying a bunch of people to do nothing, you know, or very, very little work, then I'm going to have to do so much extra work, right? So we have to have the checks and balances to make sure that our budget is going to be maximized for the
oh my gosh, my head is going to be the first one to roll.
Why? Why is your head going to be the first one to roll? It's not going to be the first one to roll. And remember, you have to remember here that the ranking is not just based on money. It's also based on work time,
okay,
right, and contribution and evaluation.
Okay.
Right? So the final decision on whether someone's head is going to, quote, roll, end quote, as you put it. Oh, man. is made through a more, it's how much contribution you're putting in and your evaluation. Like if you're not contributing very much, you're getting bad evaluations, and you want lots of money, you're toast. You're not going to survive in this organization, in this network. There's no way.
Yes.
To be very, very secure, high level, you want to have, a sound budgetary request. You want to be contributing a lot, and you want to get good evaluations, and then that basically secures your involvement in the organization.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not just about the money. We actually want to make it less about the money,
and more about the contribution.
And more about the contributions and evaluation, but we're just not there yet because we haven't done that yet. We just need to get the work time and the evaluations done there. And so, as long as we're hiring everybody and paying them what they want, which is we're 2 months in and nobody has not gotten what they asked for, right? Which is amazing.
Yes.
Right? That's partly due for me and also me getting paid less than I might want to get paid and cutting other things to pay people. But overall, it's like when we do have to start cutting people, we don't just want to cut people based on the money. We want to cut them based on also the money and the work, the contributions, and the evaluation. All right, so let's finish up Anacleta. All I have to do with Anacleta to make sure we're updated.
Okay.
So this is 8. Anacleta is 880, and that's 880. And then the only other thing is making sure that in her proposal is 880, and on her personnel doc. Okay. It's like double, triple checking everything,
Yes.
I had it wrong by one little number. All right, Nelly. So let's just start with where you're currently at. Oh, actually, even better, let's start with what you wrote in your form. So let's see if we can find Nelly. I don't see you in here. Oh, here we go, Nelly. All right, so you said 30 hours, $1,700 would be ideal. And then you had 20 hours a week for $1,000 would be your lowest rate. Cool. And then ideal hours 15. Cool. All right, and then this is 8. So one thing to note here, your lowest hourly pay rate is $8, right?
Yes.
If you do $1,000 divide by 20, divide by 4 weeks, it comes out with $1,250. So you can't actually ask for a lowest hourly rate that's less than your minimum lowest time. So the minimum you could actually ask based on that would be $1,250 per hour.
Okay, then I will ask less than 1,000.
Yeah.
Go 8.
$8 times 20 hours a week. $8 times 20 hours a week times 4 weeks is, whoops. $8 an hour times 20 hours a week times 4 weeks is $640. So this would be 6.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, that's too low, but okay.
And this would go like that, and that would be 8. So $8 an hour would be $640 per month. At $20 per $20 per week. I mean 20 hours per week. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what that would look like over here. So let's start with your ideals. Let's go back to your public profile. So your ideal is already $1,500 a month for full time.
Mm-hmm.
Your jurisdiction we don't have here, but we can look it up. So your jurisdiction is Nelly, $1,500 a month. So you're asking for your jurisdiction, which is normal. That's what I'm asking for as well. So that jurisdiction is $1,500 a month, and it's like what, near Mexico City. Right, so that's done. take that off. For full time, yeah.
Oh, I see that my minimum is 8.3.
8.3.
Okay.
So if you do 8.33 times 20 times 4 is 666.40. And that would be here. So this would be 1313. That's correct. Ideal. And then lowest agreed monthly rate 515. And then this is 7. And then it has 8. Wait, no, 833. Yeah, 833 exactly. Cool. Yep. So if you change this, this would be 20. This would be 666, and then that would stay 833.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't actually change your ranking much because you increased your time proportionally to the amount of money that you asked for.
Okay.
So it obviously changes our budget restrictions because you're asking for an additional $166. So we still have to add that to the budget, but it's only $166, right? But as far as your ranking, because you increased proportionally with the time and money, it doesn't actually change your ranking. Your ranking stays the same. Look at Abdul's ranked lower than you are. And you do so much more work. I mean, I love Abdul, he's great, but Nelly, you do so much more than Abdul does. It's like Abdul doesn't even talk. I can't talk to him, you know? It's like, oh my God, it's like I'm pulling out my teeth sometimes. It's like, you know, it's so hard to work when there's no, like, it's like I'm on the session and there's just silence. Like I ask a question, nothing. You know?
Oh, that's horrible.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult. You know. Anyway, so let's keep moving forward here. So if we went to, this would be 666 for 20 hours a week, right? And then up to 66, 20 hours a week.
Let me help you with that because it says 120.
Oh, whoops, yes, 20 hours a week. There we go.
Yeah.
So that's a perfectly reasonable proposal if that's what you want. And then that would be, let's see here, 66, 89. And then it would be related to 30 hours a week. So, boy, this is a little tough. So 666 divided by 20 times 30 is $9.99. So it's $1,000, and you're asking for $1,500. So it'd be $500. So if we go here, it would be $500 of local jurisdiction. Actually, it's wrong. So it's $500 if you're working full time, but you're only doing 2/3. So it'd be 500 times 0.66 is 333. So if we were paying you what you are, what your ideal was, what you're asking for, you would be getting $1,000. So it'd be basically 334. So for 20 hours of work, you should be getting $1,000. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So next is the back pay. So you are asking for $8.33 per hour plus 25% back pay. And then it would be plus global. All right. That's the proposal that, from what I understand, of yours.
Yes. So let me see.
And then the other thing that changes here is If we go to Nelly and we go to 66, 676 is the actual cost. And so that's what this would go to, 676 for 20 hours. We do 676 plus 401 is 1077. 1077 for 40 hours. And that's correct. So plus 856 is 1933.
It will be 30 hours?
40 hours, because you do 20. Oh, no, it would be 35.
20, oh, yeah.
35 hours.
35, yes.
So that would be 65 hours. Total. All right, so then let's compare that to the budget. The budget is 1,400. Right? I guess technically I would get rid of that. And it would be, this is 1,400. This is approved. So if we only have $1,400.
Okay, we don't fit.
Well, no. So, it's not that we don't fit. We also, remember, we have an additional $700 in the Atlantic team. Right? So the question is it possible to fit somebody into the Atlantic team and shift things around to make it all work? Like for example, you'd be asking for the most amount of money. So one option is for you to go to the Atlantic team entirely and then have a triple buddy team with Jorge, Ana Clara, and Isaac. Right? Within the Andromeda team, that would be one, and then that would be, you'd be the first head to roll, right? No, and then the other option would be Ana Clara is talking about potentially going to the Atlantic team entirely. So if Ana Clara went to the Atlantic team entirely, she fits within the Atlantic team as well, and then the rest of you would fit here. So if you did if you had 676, oh, whoops, 676 plus 401 plus 324 is 1,401. So that's well below the budget. So if you did 1,401, that's actually exactly the budget. It's like literally exactly the budget. That's very interesting.
Okay.
So maybe that's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, because she's going to Norway.
Well, no, her going to Norway would actually mean, but that's in 2 months, right? We're just talking about.
Oh, but she's changing to Atlantic team because she'll be working more in that one, right?
Yeah, because she's just not as available in the afternoons because it's so.
In the afternoons.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's like practically in the Atlantic, right? She's like in Uruguay, like near the Atlantic. So.
Okay.
So anyways, so we'll see, but note that Nelly plus Jorge plus Isaac is equal to $1,400, which is the exact budget. Very interesting. Muy interesante. Muy. And I think you guys are over to the point where it's like, I think you guys understand how the amount of work that needs to get done.
Yes.
I don't think there's any possibility that we could find too many people. It's just endless. It's literally endless. Okay, cool. So I think that we are looking good on this. I mean, do you have any other questions? The only thing that's missing is Isaac.
No.
Should we go through Isaac together for a little bit?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So, and then we could also add it to the budget here.
Okay.
If we wanted to do that. Yeah, I still don't see Isaac. Let me try one more time. I-S-H. Oh, I-S-C. No, I-S-A-S-C. No, I-S-H-A. Oh. Wait, what about this one? Isaac. Yeah,
I don't know what happened to him.
It's a different person, I'm pretty sure. Ghana. This person's in Ghana. Cool. Oh. Well, I mean, I guess we could wait on Isaac. It's not a huge deal.
I don't think it's if he has an answer since a while ago.
Yeah. I mean, this is another task. Have we been adding all these tasks to the master task list?
I already added them all.
Nice. So another task would be
okay.
Put
Let me add that one. But I don't know if James was here. He left. Oh, the contact was James.
So this is another task here related to it.
Yes.
I could start by just copying all of this and pasting it.
Okay.
In there. But you know, it's gonna at some point it's gonna need more than that. So here, oh my god, that's so weird. Jorge. Never really doing that? So weird. Yeah, it's not worried about that. Okay. So I think we're pretty much good. I'm happy.
Yes.
Yeah, there's plenty more to be done, but you know, it's all this budgeting stuff is tough. Definitely tough, but it's so hard because like, you know, there's like hundreds of people who want jobs. You know, they're just people that like need help. They need money, and like, you know, just like,
I know.
You know, hopefully we can bring in a lot more money. That's really what we should be focusing. We gotta prioritize investor relationship. You want me to?
Yeah, we need to prioritize that, investor relations and investments.
Yeah, do you want me to do a quick overview? Investor relations update.
Yeah.
So top probabilities. So there's the another world could become. There's like a big meeting next Monday or Wednesday that I might need to do. I might have to miss one of our meetings to do that. Oh, another one. And they have
you have a big meeting. Okay, good.
Yeah, and they have about an 8K budget right now, but they're trying to raise, you know, millions. All right, so then the other one is obviously there's EXA. Right, so our current client, EXA is our current client. Might be able to get more money from them. But it's also possible we could end up getting less in the short term. It's just all, who knows what's going to happen. So their budget's so unstable, it's just like a mess. And they're spending tens of thousands of dollars on coders, so the work that we're doing is not prioritized in the budget. We're not coding, right? All right, and then the other one is the good cause group. And this, we know that these guys have like what, 200K plus, right? This guys have 8K. Good cause group is like potentially gonna bring in 10K, right? So that's all potential funds that might come in. And we have to do a lot of our own internal financing. So internal finances, so the less financially organized we are, and I have to say this, accounting. We are, the bigger our buffers need to be, right? So if you know exactly how much money we have, then we potentially can get extra hundreds to 1,000 there. So there's a lot of work to do for internal FQN community network accounting and finances. It's just like a huge, this is a huge responsibility. So those are the three. I mean, there might be other. We might be including like other potential investors.
Yes.
So we do have a list. We have a list of about 5 plus people that we can ask.
Shall this go into FQN internal plan?
No, it doesn't go in FQN internal plan. Investor relations. This goes in investor relations. So we would go to the network here, and I would go to investor relations doc right here.
Ah, okay. Oh, okay. Invest relations doc. Okay, all right.
We'll probably pop this right at the front. Our investor relations doc is not very organized or involved. We need to do a lot more of that stuff. Okay, so that's good. So anyways, there's definitely lots of possible ways of potentially bringing in more money, but the first thing is just dealing with the money we already have, and our client is just, it's like a, we got to get organized,
Yes.
All right, anyways, I'm ready. Oh, I'm ready to take a break. So
go ahead, you need a break. You have been working a lot.
Yeah, I think that we're good. We have our next steps set up. We did you, we did Anacleta, we did Jorge. So we have proposals.
Are you gonna be in global meeting tonight?
Oh yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can join at 9:30 my time. So yeah, that would be 8:30 your time.
I have a housing meeting in 40 minutes.
Uh-huh.
So if you're interested in listening in on that and helping with that, you're certainly welcome to. But yeah, that doesn't start till like 7 p.m. America's time.
I can go because I have a class.
I think it might be 8 p.m. America's time.
But I'll be back for the global meeting.
Well, yeah, no, it starts around 8 p.m. America's time.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, good work. And the only other thing left for our meeting is like the value tracking. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. The value tracking. Let me do that. Hold on.
Should we do that?
Let me just. Yes. Sure. I still need to get familiarized with all the points and the half an hour and all that, but yes, I can definitely do that. Give me just 1 second. Okay. Session. Value. Okay, Jorge. We should have a template with those things.
We do.
Let me look for one.
We do have a template.
Yeah, with this.
I got it. What?
You got it?
Yeah. Boom.
Oh, okay. Good. Oh, thank you. That was what I was looking for. Okay. Attendance, Andromeda team. Oh, yeah, James was here, right?
Yep, he was.
Yes. So, okay. Nelly and Jay.
I don't think I was early. I think you were early, and we were both on time.
You weren't?
No, I got here right on time.
Okay. Isaac wasn't here.
So one thing to
Jay
think about
was here for
Isaac did check in though, right?
3. Yes, he did.
So one thing to note here is that we need to start asking people. I guess this would go in the template. Do we have a template here?
I don't know how long
as part of
James was here. Maybe 1 hour, right?
No, I mean maybe he was here like a half an hour, but text only.
Yeah. James was text only, and it was.
So part of our setup, we really need to start checking in on people. Like this is part of the check-in, as well as like voice, audio, computer.
Okay.
So anyways, in terms of the voice and the audio stuff, session positions. So text only, James. So we need to start asking people about like their computer, right?
Yes.
And their setup, because I think that's really, really important, and especially on the global level.
Yes.
You know, because if someone's only there with their phone, you know, and they don't have a computer, you know, it's just like you can't really do anything, right? You can't really do work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They can't be like a timekeeper, and they can't do some other things, you know, so they can't help. Which we certainly want them to come. Like audio is better than nothing. But yeah, we need to make sure we're asking that at the beginning of meetings.
You work with what's the name of this? The forms. What's the name of the form?
That was the
form you work with.
Yeah, the evaluation form.
Evaluation form.
Yeah, and I also did a lot of budgeting.
And this was like an hour.
No,
more, no? Well, like 2
that
hours?
was really quick. The value, that wasn't value tracking either. That was just evaluation form. It was really quick. It was like, yeah, I would say 0.25.
Okay, budgeting, J. Okay, task.
So the other things here, right, is like, so timekeeping. Oh, Anna Clara didn't really do a lot of timekeeping. Mm-hmm. You know, I would almost say this would be like a point. I mean, did she really? Do you remember her ever saying time on anything? Oh no, she did say time on something. She did. So we could say 0.5 hours. Maybe longer, an hour. But over here, so you get you know, time keeping for Anna Clara would be 0.5.
Task. This was just like 1 point, I don't know.
So you were working on the computer the whole time?
Yes.
And Jorge left a little early, right? Ana Clara then left early, so it's times 3. But I'm not sure about Ana Clara. Did Ana Clara have her computer?
She mentioned it that she was on her cell phone because she received a call.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Updating master task doc. So that would go under work if you did time. Otherwise, it'd just be a point if it was a task. Or if you did it multiple times. Cool. Anyways, I think that's good enough for me. You know, I don't really feel like adding up the totals right now. I think I can let someone else do that. I'm gonna go get some food and take a break. All right.
Video indexing, how much it is? 0.5?
What? Video?
How much is worth video indexing?
Well, I mean, it depends how much video indexing they did, but you know, you can put 0.25, 0.5 either way. Yeah, not a lot.
0.5, okay.
Jorge.
But
again, video indexing is not work. It's a session position.
Okay.
Oh, but I guess it is. Oh yeah, you're right. It is work. It is work. So you get the 0.5 for the work slash task, assigned tasks slash responsibilities. Right, so you get, for the video indexing, he gets 2.5 hours up here for the session positions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas down here, he only gets 0.5 hours because of the actual work that he did.
Okay.
Cool. Perfect. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna get going. I will talk to you later tonight if you want to join in on the Sonic session.
Sure.
It'll be your first Sonic session. Sure,
great.
And I would actually have someone to talk to. Yeah. Okay.
Time we did 3.5, right?
Yeah, 3.5 is fine. If we put an extra, just put it in your own personal, okay? I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.